But more than that, the Peterson family is very strange. There's, even before he talked about the apple cider, which I brought up, the apple cider vinegar, I was the first person to showcase this. He was Joe Rogan. He had some apple cider vinegar, sir. Drank just a spoonful, and then it was 25 days, no sleep, impending doom. And I go, okay. I pulled it out from the show. I showed you. We said there's something wrong with the Peterson Tammy, his wife Tammy. I mean, that's a horror movie title. It's Tammy. What's going on with Tammy and the exorcism type life with her? That's fucking bad. I'm allowed to talk about Tammy. That's a public figure. Pull up Tammy on Michaela's new podcast. Let's see how this speaks. I meant to call her a witch. This Jordan Peterson's wife and fake cancer. I mean, there's something strange about the Johnsons. Come on, Mike. Pull yourself. And there's always been some strange.
Mic even working? Check, check. Hey, bye. Come back, Mike. Come on. Yeah, oh, crap. Come on, Mike. You can do it. Oh, yeah. And I'm back. Holy crap. Hold on. I don't know what just happened there, but here's Mike. We got more with Mike Red Bar.
Vinegar, sir. I drank some just a spoonful, and then it was 25 days, no sleep, impending doom. And I go, okay. I pulled this out from the show. I showed you. We said there's something wrong with the Petersons. Tammy, his wife Tammy. I mean, that's a fucking horror movie title in itself. Tammy. You know, what's going on with Tammy and the exorcism type life that you're living with her? That Tammy is fucking fucked in the head. I'm allowed to talk about Tammy. That's a public figure. Pull up Tammy on Michaela's new podcast. Wait till you hear how this bitch speaks. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call her a bitch. I meant to call her a witch. This is Jordan Peterson's.
And I was wondering why we kept getting demonetized. It's freaking Mike's fault.
Wife and fake cancer. I mean, there's something strange about the Johnsons. And there's always been something strange. And finally, the world is catching up. You know, you had Michaela with her all meat diet and her mysterious illnesses. She got Jordan on carnivore. You had Jordan going off to Russia to live in the coma state because he was addicted to benzodiazepines. You had, and it's excuse after excuse. It's secret after secret. It's a remote control car, remote duct taped to the man's hand to make it look like he's operating the car when really there's a stunt driver, robotics expert behind the camera doing the work, just like your favorite movies, remote. There's a lot of weird stuff. The Airbnbs. It's similar to Tim Dillon. When you're living out of so many Airbnbs with your whole family, what's going on? Why are you constantly in a different Airbnb? Why is your home constantly being changed all the time? Why are Canadians moonlighting in America? Why are they living in Transylvania for half the year? Why are they making frequent trips to Moscow? Why are they going to Romania? Imagine if you went on a family vacation to Romania. I'd go, Dad, what are you involved in? What happened? Who do you owe? What's going on? You're not the man I knew. So, yeah, there's a lot of freaky stuff happening, and the world is noticing. It used to be me and my imagination bringing up these Petersons. I feel like I'm part of their family. You know, I almost get jealous when I see other people cover the Petersons. I go, that's my family to cover. Don't you feel like I kind of, but I guess they're the world's family.
I think that you definitely were the first one, but then over the last year, a lot of people have been discovering them themselves.
It's really, and you know what? I don't care
and
about
now they're
that.
kind of a big thing.
I'm not a critician type of man, meaning
as long as people are talking about it,
as long as people are talking about it, I'm happy. I'm not a road to credition, which means all you care about is credit and Tom Hanks. I don't care about that. I want to show you this movie that this fella made. Now, if you're listening to the audio only version in your car, this will mean diddly squat. Diddly. I want you to pull over, transfer over to your phone, get on the video version, try to sync this up. It won't work. Find this video or maybe pause this. It's called Jordan Peterson 12 More Rules video. And whoever made this, I don't know who made this, but whoever made this, I need to contact because they have access to my dreams. Which, Mike, they have access to your dreams. This show is very weird. There's an underlying weirdness to this show that's like a supernatural element to Red Bar, a paranormal element to Red Bar that swims underneath the creek of reality like a pulsing vein in like a Stranger Things type world. Yeah, there is an underlying supernatural element to Red Bar that we always try to shoo away, right? That we always try to go, okay, that was weird, but let's move on. You know, we're not living in some sort of subculture. I'm obviously a man of reason. Everybody knows that. And, but it's hard. It's hard to ignore the signs that I receive, the feelings that I have that always come true, and the visions that I have at night between awakeness and sleeping, where I get a glimpse every night. I don't know if I told you, every night before and people have this, it's like where you slip into a dream, but you're kind of still awake. I get one every night, and I get about 4 minutes of the future. And this guy, I don't know if he gets it too, but he tapped into exactly what I've seen with the Petersons that I've been too afraid to explain. And he's got a video here that I'd like to play for you that shows exactly how I see the Peterson family. And more importantly, the audience that I haven't been able to articulate, his fans. His fans. This is called 12 More Rules. I hope that you've seen this. If you haven't seen it, you're in for a treat. It's 3D animated, and it's by a guy named Amon Animations. AAMON Animations. She's got 36,000 subscribers. This is up to 407,000. views. It's got 33,000 likes and 1.2 thousand dislikes. It's saying the same thing I said in my demons video, but the clan of Peterson is allowing it. They don't know that this is a huge diss. I don't think. Hold on. They don't know that this is a huge diss, and I hope this isn't one of those things where if Jordan Peterson sees it or Michaela sees it and says she likes it, the guy goes, "Oh, now I'll pin them. I like them. Oh, they saw them." I hope it's not bad. You see this a lot. Those guys who made the impulsive parody, those three Mexican men, they made a huge diss, impulsive parody last week, and then Big Mike was like, "This is amazing," and they pinned it, and then Logan came in. "This is incredible." And now they're friends with that. No, it's a diss video at its heart. But now that Logan and Big Mike liked it, now you'd rather be friends with them. That's like Pink Trip style, where they make it's kind of a diss video to Rogan. Those Pink Trip.
What's up?
Howdy, howdy.
How you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good. I think Jeremy might be in transit.
Oh, is he? Yeah, he's supposed to be heading to Korea pretty soon. I don't already be.
Yeah. Jerem probably knows.
I don't. I mean, I know that he's like, yeah, he's supposed to be in Korea pretty soon, but I don't know if it's today or not.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So what you guys been up to?
All over the place.
Yeah, like usual. What's up, Bob?
Yeah.
Hey guys,
How are you healing?
I'm doing great. I'm actually walking again, and my fingers don't hurt anymore, and I'm
That was
doing
pretty quick.
Yeah, the doctor told me that I'm 3 to 5 weeks ahead of where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what happened. Allie crashed her bicycle, like descending a mountain like at 40 miles an hour, and cracked her collarbone. And she was healed in like 3 weeks. All the doctors were freaking out. They were like, "Whoa, you're like way upper percentile for like healing time." And for a bunch of weak protein deficient vegans, that's kind of strange.
Isn't that odd? It's just wonderful. Honestly, like I love it. Like last year I broke my shoulder, and my chiropractor, he's pretty much my doctor. I don't like real doctors. I don't trust them. This guy's studied alternative medicine for 50 years and actually will discuss things with me. He actually brought up to me last week even that B12, you know how everybody's always complaining about B12 and hating on vegans? You know why we're all deficient in B12? Parasites. You look it up. Like hookworm, roundworm, flukes, all these parasites take your B12.
They gobble that shit up.
Well, it makes perfect sense because they've proven that parasites affect your thinking. Well, what better way to affect a rational person's thinking than taking their ability to think? You know, like B12 is necessary for thinking. So if they gobble that shit up and control your thought pattern, get you to eat corpses like a zombie, they're getting fed. It's like toxoplasmosis. I mean, that shit tricks you into being around cat shit. It's weird.
Ew. What?
Yeah. Parasites are gross, dude, but they're incredibly intelligent. They will tell you what to think. Not that that's a fun topic of conversation, but you know, it's kind of one of those.
They definitely steal your carbs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They steal everything. They're thieves. Like I went on a 120-day juice fast this last year, and now I can put on weight and lose weight at will. I was like 130 pounds. Now I'm 160. You know, 9-day difference.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had these parasites eating me for years, and I was about 140 pounds on my regular vegan diet, but I had never fasted. when I did my fast, I went from like 140 really steady even down to like 130, but I felt amazing. Well, the entire time I was taking pictures, video, like there was horrible stuff coming out of me. Once that stuff was gone, I'm just a different guy.
Yeah.
Clarity of mind, anger issues. Like I used to be real quick to temper, like I'm so calm, passive, like it's changed me in wonderful ways. Yeah.
Did you ever get into that the weird like stuff that what John Rose gets into with like the mucoid plaques and all that kind of gnarly stuff?
Oh yeah.
I didn't have a choice. John Rose is absolutely right. He's a very intelligent guy. While I was fasting, I did see the mucoid plaque coming out. 20-year-old shit. Like I've been raw vegan for 5 years. So instead of large ropes of mucoid plaque, it almost looked like it was petrified and like it was shrinking away. But it was in there, absolutely. And I mean, every 3 days, I'd get rid of another 6-inch piece or so, and figure out how long your digestive tract is. I don't even think I got it all cleared out, honestly, because I don't have the energy levels I think I should have. But I did get rid of like massive 2-foot worms regularly. I got rid of nukes. I got rid of all sorts of nasty shit, including mucoid plaque. It's a real deal. It's not a lie.
Seen some
You don't like sugar though. You dodge sugar, don't you?
Yeah, I won't consume sugar. That's like consume.
That's probably why you don't have the energy levels you think you should.
Well, I mean, I'm consuming fruit all day, every day, and that's natural sugar. The type of sugar that's in fruit.
Natural.
What?
All sugar is natural. What do you mean?
Well, I disagree because not all sugar can pass your cell wall without needing insulin. Okay. Now, fruit sugar that can pass your cell wall without even needing insulin because it's your most ideal food source for your body. Your body would never reject it or stop it or inhibit it in any way, shape, or form. Now, other sugars your body needs to regulate and uses insulin.
So that could all be true, right? But it wouldn't mean it's not natural, right? Because you can have natural things that harm your body.
Hold on. So white table sugar is cane juice dried out in the sun. So what do you which kind of sugar are you talking about that's unnatural that isn't
you telling me that shit's I guess I don't know that much about the processing, but I was always told that it had something to do with bone char. I've never really researched it. I just know that
but yeah,
that's super old method of filtering the sugar. Back in the day, they don't do that anymore. But no, it's just cane. White sugar is just cane juice dried out. That's all it is. And it is, like you said, it is our best, most efficient source of energy. We have glucose. Yeah, like Ellie said, I knew Ellie would show up here. We have glucose receptors on our tongues. We don't have protein or fat receptors on our tongues. We have glucose because the second you put sugar in your mouth, it goes into your system, and your body will actually release some glycogen reserves. The second it notices that you have new glycogen coming in or new glucose coming in, it'll release. So it's very instant source of energy. And my whole life has changed since I've gone high carb and unlimited carb, unlimited sugar. I've done the first 7 years I was on YouTube, I did 80 videos, but then the year after I started doing the high carb stuff, I did 230. I just a big procrastination, a weight off my shoulder just disappeared of a procrastination problem I used to have. And trust me, I met Allie And Allie would eat sugar around me. I'm like, are you insane, woman? Like, what are you doing? But she's like Olympic level athlete. So it's like, okay, so what's going on here? And I just, that's why I go hard against all the low carb stuff, because it's just like, well, you're depleting your body of the most important thing. Like every cell in your body runs off glucose. Your hormone system runs off glucose. Like the second you go fat adapted, your thyroid, like all your hormone system just shrivels away. And it's just it's super sketchy. What's up, Craig? Craig. Well, where'd he go?
It's popping in and out, looks like.
Here. But yeah, processed sugar, the whole processed, everything processed is bad thing is a real big like wives' tale that we need to get past. Like processing, we process food by chewing it up. It doesn't mean it's bad by the time it gets in our stomach. A lot of these processes are actually put into the food so we could absorb it better as humans and be more efficient at burning the calories, which is really good. And it's not, like everybody's like, oh, it's just processed is the devil, and it's just like, whoa, hold on. It's like,
yeah,
it's kind of amazing. It's processed to make our bodies absorb it better. And yeah, there are things that you can miss out by processing. There are processes that are gross. There are lots of pesticides and garbage like that. But it just completely, and I respect the raw food thing for sure. It's like, me and Allie, we might go to Hawaii and my buddy's got like a farm there with all these plants and stuff. And like, if I was in that environment all the time, I could probably do it a little bit better, or at least try and do it like, what's it called? Raw till 5 or something. You try and eat most of the day raw or whatever. Like that stuff's cool. But I do eat a lot of processed foods because I can't imagine eating only fruit all day. It's just too much fiber for me. At least where I'm at in my life right now, like, I don't know, maybe in the future or something like that. But I do eat a lot of processed foods, and I don't think it's doing anything negative to me. Like if you're working out, if you're like if you eat right and you're fit, sugar heals you. Sugar actually gets rid of the stress hormones that build up in your body. Sugar's pretty dope if you're not a complete turd, like obviously if you just indulge in everything and do the standard American diet, and just eat whatever you want all the time, that's not going to end well. But I forgot where I was going, but I don't know. So yeah, like I totally respect the raw thing, but I don't think that processed foods are the devil. It's just kind of like Ali said here, where she said it's like a broad term that kind of is vague and is like blanketing all kinds of stuff. It's just like someone saying, oh, veganism's unhealthy, and you're like, well, it can be, but this is like a lot of nuance to that, and there's a lot of circumstances and scenarios and shit like that. But
here's how I see it. Oh, sorry.
And any sugar, cool thing about glucose is when you have an abundance of it, you just piss it out. It just goes right out of your body. That's like the opposite of what fat and protein does. Fat is fat. Protein can be fat, can turn into fat if you're not actually burning it. It will be stored as fat. So it's, there's a lot of just like myths going around, about that's marketing. It's high protein diet marketing. It's, meat and dairy marketing. It's all, BS. Like, oh, eat as much protein as you can. It's just like, ooh, that's gross.
Yeah, everybody's got to blame something, something to keep everybody confused. Like the cigarette companies. What was that on What the Health? They brought it up how their campaign was, doubt is our product because they wanted to make people doubt whether it's the cigarettes or not when they were proving that shit causes cancer. So as long as they keep us confused and not knowing, and honestly, you might be entirely right about the sugar. Me personally, I try and keep my diet as minimally processed as possible, but I actually do plan on planting some cane sugar and juicing it myself just to try
Oh
it.
my god.
So,
Yeah, fresh raw cane juice is like you drink it and your brain just like goes nuts. It's like, oh my god, this is the shit. Like
is
as
it like
with
a
any fruit,
euphoric
usually
thing?
any good fruit, any good fruit, you put that in your mouth, it's like woo, like I get jacked like when I have fruit. And I guarantee people who eat meat don't feel that way.
No, hell no. They're fucking miserable. They got worms and shit, dude. It's disgusting. Fucking. I would never wish a meat-based diet, even on my worst enemies. Like, fucking, why? Why would you ruin your life or wish such evil on people? It's not only
My,
are they hurting. Yep.
sorry,
Sorry,
go ahead.
didn't cut you off, brother. I just don't understand it. Like, I used to be that asshole that'd be like, fuck vegans. They don't know what they're talking about. Meat
Same.
makes you manly. As soon as you're educated, you just can't go back to that. You know what I mean? So what
Yeah,
were
it was
you
funny.
gonna
My son and his best friend went camping with us, and we took the rig out to the lake, and like they, shit in the, in the bathroom. And like we once we left, we had to go and immediately dump our sewage because it smelled so bad. Those two little meat eater shits. It was like the most, like me and Allie were like, oh my god, like, and it wasn't like it smelled everywhere. We just like it just smelled very foreign to us, and it was death. Like it's just rotting gross, and it was in our house, and we were like, oh my god, like what the fuck is that? It's gross. Yeah, super gross.
It's the same as when somebody cooks eggs on your frying pan, you smell the residual. Like I said, there's that nasty stench that's left over.
No, there's no doubt about it. When you go vegan, at about the 3-week to a month mark, you go into a supermarket and you hit that meal aisle, and you're like the meat aisle, and you're like, oh my god, what the fuck is that? Like it's violent. It's a violent reaction, and that's your body's natural reaction to that kind of stuff that's been dulled down since birth because you had this diet forced on you when you had no choice when you were a child out of tradition. And all these dudes, oh, I love meat. No, you don't. Like it tastes like nothing. Like and it's gross. Like, and if you stopped for a month and went back to it, you'd be repulsed by it. But
dude, if they love that shit, why do they need to fucking chemically react the shit?
Food all over
they got it covered in covered in plants, all sorts of plant flavor. They don't like that shit. It's a fucking filler that fucking feeds the worms. The worms are telling them they want it. Fucking weird, man.
That's interesting because so I do have a very negative reaction to like the ethics of it. Like if I walk down the meat aisle, I'm like I can't like walk down it. It's like it's unpleasant for me. But I do still like have like if I think about like eating a steak or something, like just like thinking about the pure like taste pleasure of it, I still do think that like pushing
because you're remembering a different time when you were a different human and you had a steak and it tasted good. Now if you're put in that position, you'd be kind of, I don't know, maybe not like I remember
it was,
when
lab grown or something, right? Like or like they made like some sort of like Beyond Steak or something. I think like they would like be like similar to like the taste. I think I would still like it. Yeah.
Well, there's an interesting thing about steak too. It was something I saw a while back, probably Nutrition Facts, Dr. Greger. But if you're iron deficient and you smell somebody cooking a steak and it actually appeals to you, like if you've been on a plant-based diet, usually what that it basically means they're iron deficient.
Iron deficiency. Yeah.
No, that's maybe.
Yeah,
Eggs.
weird.
Salty eggs used to really get me. I'd be like, oh, salty eggs. Like, sounds so good. But it was always when it was just like a salt thing.
I would blame the iron deficiency or worms. Worms tell you what to think and how to think. So if it goes against your core values and these weird thoughts are popping in, that might be a foreign object. Have you ever fasted and cleaned yourself out, brother?
I fasted in the past.
What kind of
but
fast?
not in a while. So I actually grew up Mormon, and then so like once a month you fast on Sunday. So you don't eat anything on Sunday, and then so it would just be like a one day thing. Yeah.
One day won't do it. Like I was juice fasting for 120 days, and I was at like 118, and I kicked out a 2-foot worm. Like it takes time. It takes a long time to clean out your body. Like you probably don't want to hear that, but I mean, it's intense. It's insane. You know, like you wouldn't believe what's inside of you until you starve what's inside of you. You know, but for the meantime, even if you're eating like a perfect diet, like I've been raw vegan for 5 years, but when you eat wrong and you have like corpses and weird shit inside of you, then that shit lines your innards and leaves a film, like it's called mucoid plaque. Okay, now this mucoid plaque, like imagine I have a glass of water and it's the most pristine water you can get on the planet, you know, and I hand you it. It's just great water. You're excited. And I put a couple drops of poison in there. It's the same thing, you know. It doesn't matter how clean the water is because there's poison in it, you know. Well, when you put mucoid plaque into your intestinal system and you put death inside there and your body reacts and it starts emitting like a mucus film to protect yourself from being burnt by those corpses and shit. And then it like develops these ropes of horrible shit. Well, you could eat perfect, but that food you're chewing up and putting in that perfect food, it's touching all that toxic shit you put inside there. And some people have worse like stuff that develops from that or different parasites and stuff. And some people, for some reason, remain relatively healthy. I think they have stronger genes, better microbiome. I think it takes generations to damage this stuff and make it really bad. But yeah,
Larken
like I
Rose
said,
is the hero.
what?
Larken Rose is the hero.
He's a bootlicker, man. That motherfucker worships government.
Bootlick? You mean the video? What's it called? When you should shoot a cop is a bootlicking video. Is that what you just said? Excuse me. Is that true? Did you just say that?
Dude, he supports the people. He supports law enforcement. I could fucking prove it.
Prove it. Let's prove it, please.
You want proof? Okay, the original police force was created to fucking enforce and protect or to capture runaway slaves, right?
Okay.
What do you think happens if I go into a fucking slaughterhouse and start shooting motherfuckers up protecting the animals? The cops come.
You could say that about anything, though. It doesn't have to be a slaughterhouse.
He supports the slaughterhouse. He eats dead animals. He supports those slaves.
Subsidies.
And
John,
with
subsidies
people.
What?
Subsidies argument's better. Do the subsidies argument.
Yeah, do the subsidies argument.
Well, either way, I think I proved he supports law enforcement. He supports
you definitely
the people
did not prove that he supports law enforcement because he has a BLT. Bro, like, listen, I understand. Just so you know, there are no people that aren't vegan that like the way the animals are treated. Nobody likes that. I don't know if you think that, like, this is something like we're like, Steve, they're like, yes, oh, these kill the animals, yes, this is great. No one's.
You don't see what we see, dude.
I mean,
I don't know why you think that we think
you
that.
do like how
I don't know.
You
know what? It's you guys that are flattering yourselves by thinking that we think that you're some kind of like terrifying, aggressive brutes. What we actually think is that you're cowardly, conformist, lazy
You think
pussies.
I'm a conformist? You think I'm a conformist? Did you ever play? Hold on.
You eat
In
the
this,
state of diet.
Wait. Did you
in
ever
this
play
respect,
Sonic 2 for
too
Sega
much
Genesis?
of a pussy to tell the people around you that you think that the selfish choices they're making 3 times a day has some moral problem, because then they won't like you. Then they won't. Then they won't like you.
You think
You're worried about fitting in.
I'm a conformist?
You're proving it. You're proving it.
Your popularity is
I
more
mean, if you-
important than doing the right
Have you ever
thing,
played
bro.
Sonic 2 for Sega Genesis?
Yeah.
The code is
Justin.
19B65B, 9B17B, press start. Hold on the A button, press start. 4B, 1B, 2B, 6B, 1B, 9B, 9B, 2B, 1B,
I don't know
1B,
if you
2B,
can
4B,
hear
hold
me.
in, press start. You think I'm a conformist? You think I'm a conformist, loser? Really? I'll shred you. First and foremost,
Dude,
I think you
What
are
did that have
afraid.
to
Yeah,
do
I
with
think you're
the
afraid.
nobody looking at
You
get
say-
laid would ever do that publicly,
when
let alone on video.
when a buddy of yours says, "Hey man, somebody's throwing a barbecue," and you say, "I'm not gonna go because all of you people are doing something that I think is really morally wrong. You're basically animal abusers." I think you're
Right,
proving
well-
yourself to be too cowardly to consider saying
you know
something
I
like
was
that to a
vegan
group
for
of other
17
people.
months?
Justin, let him finish.
Well, he's been talking the whole time.
Well,
Okay, go ahead.
and then what made you stop?
I'm sorry?
I don't think I'm
What made me
necessarily
stop
going to believe
being
you. but-
basically vegan? The fact I got sick, I got weak, I hurt myself, and I just
Plant-based.
thought about it. All right, yeah, I was plant-based. I wasn't 100% vegan, admittedly, but I was nearly vegan because I don't really eat dairy as is. And yeah,
No, but you
know,
wore
it just-
wore
why
leather
can't
and
do
you
it
wore
something that doesn't
wool
work
and
for
you
everybody?
didn't
Like what?
you bought products that are tested on animals and stuff like that. So you weren't anywhere near being vegan.
Well,
We've
Jeff,
already gone over
Jeff,
this.
believe it or not, to tell you the truth, I always shop at like
You
this,
were
like,
temporarily a plant-based fad dieters, and you didn't eat right while you did it.
I listened to what I
and
was told.
You had you had health problems from before you were vegan that spilled over, or before you were plant-based that spilled over into your plant-based. That plant-based didn't immediately fix, so you ditched it, and you've talked shit ever
months
since.
is a while, though. It's not.
Justin, I got a question for you, Justin. What's a straw man argument?
What's that?
What's a straw man argument?
I don't remember what.
You don't remember. Because you've had people explain it to you 700 times over the last 5 years, and
but
somehow you still don't know what it is.
Definitions for things.
It's mind-boggling,
You're not
dude.
supposed to.
It's
Isn't
fucking mind-boggling how unlearnable you are, dude.
Isn't that what John Bob does all the time? Like, I'll bring up like 4th of July, and he'll be like veganism. And, isn't that like a straw man? I don't remember.
I thought you shred people in debates.
Who said
Yeah,
that?
dude.
Who said that? The chunky guy?
He's always does
Oh,
that.
yeah,
He
I
acts
do. You
like
wanna go?
he's got the gotchas,
Wanna
gotcha.
go? Wanna go? Me and
Dude,
you.
I
Who
always
said it?
shred
You wanna
you.
go?
You say the
Wanna
same
go?
shit every time and claim you
I'll
won.
spank you, bro. You want it? Come on.
I
I
know
go
you
easy.
would.
I
Not
go
only
easy.
were
I
you
hold back
asking
a
for
lot.
dick
Like
pics
I'm not,
last
like you said,
week,
I'm
now
not
you're
trying to
off
stop
to
anyone from being
spank me.
vegan. I never was.
Justin, read the
Yeah.
comment. Read the main comment.
Logical fallacy is when you argue against an argument that your opponent didn't make. Yeah, which is what John Bob does.
No. Hold on. Stop, Justin. Justin, your whole plants feel things is a straw man.
How?
Do you understand that?
No, how?
Because you're arguing an argument that isn't what we're claiming.
Yeah,
We as
you are.
vegans
Saying
understand
is it okay to eat plants?
that
Is it
there's
okay to eat
incidental deaths that are related with our existence as humans, as with everyone. Every human that exists has incidental deaths, crop deaths that happen because they exist. Beyond that, the intentional deaths is all us vegans care about. So when you bring up this, vegetables have feelings, and you think you've destroyed every vegan with this argument, you're absolutely wrong, and you're using a logical fallacy.
Those aren't the
And
arguments. You haven't even heard the arguments that I actually have, because I'm not trying to stop anyone.
No, Justin, you argue that you have the same 3 arguments you've been saying over and over again for the last 10 years that I've known you, over and over and over again.
Okay, so
Yet-
riddle me this.
Yet you've had people very nicely and concisely explain to you what's wrong with your arguments and that they're logical fallacies, and you don't even hear it. You just keep hearing yourself say your arguments over and over and over again.
Okay, I have 5 of you against me. Let's do it here. Why is it okay to eat plants if they don't want to die, and you can prove it and you can test it, and they even make noise and react to it? All you need is a tool. Is the tool too much for a vegan to go through to actually complain about all the stuff they say about animals? All you need is a tool, and then every single thing you're complaining about applies to the plant kingdom. Every one of them. Every one of them. Be specific. Why is that okay?
Natural tools.
What's that?
Being vegan kills less plants.
Yeah, that's just not true. You know, there's a doctor on YouTube.
Of course it's true. We've proven that to you 100 times. You ignore everybody.
And if you only eat red meat for every meal for a whole year, you eat less than 2 cows. Every time you have a salad.
Wait, but what do the cows eat though?
What's that?
The cows do the cows just like eat air? Like do they eat
they
nothing?
eat grass. They eat grass.
How much grass?
Who cares? I don't know.
20, 50 times as much as you could ever eat in that time period?
Who cares? I don't eat grass. What kind of point?
But if your claim is that if your claim is that
but the plant life, right? You're causing 100 times the death by your own fucking omission, disproving your own fucking argument. We do this
with death, though.
Dude.
I'm okay with death, though. I admit it. You know, I just understand that whatever created reality.
Justin, look at the main comment.
Animal products.
This guy's a meat eater, and he thinks that your argument's garbage. Read the main comment.
Comparing vegetable to a mammal not wanting to die. Yeah, I agree that it's not the strongest argument. I have strong.
But why do you repeat it every day, and why do you think it's such a better argument than what everyone tells you?
Well, because like I said, I haven't even.
I just want to see you learn something, Justin, and then like I'll be so proud of you. But I haven't seen you learn a goddamn thing in 10 years.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, why does the central nervous system matter? If I walk to work, does it matter?
Because that's what vegans care about. We care about sentient beings. We didn't say anything about non-sentient beings, highly sentient beings.
Where sentience comes from. That's where subjective experience comes from.
Plants respond to music. Why is that okay? Why don't you guys do it?
You know what else responds to music?
Energy.
My phone responds to music. Yeah.
Lots of machines respond to music.
What's that?
Lots of machines respond to music.
Like
how many weeks ago was it that I was talking about a Roomba? You know
what?
You can have
you just did a PLM.
You can have a light that comes on when music plays. You know, you can
have what. Listen, bro, you got to go through the studies.
You can rig up your thermostat. Your thermostat turns on the heat when music plays.
Why haven't you guys started sun gazing yet? What's stopping you guys from sun gazing? I have no argument against sun gazing.
Justin, these are the same argument, the same one-liners you always use, dude, for years now.
Okay,
like you say something new you learned recently. Tell me something you learned recently, Justin.
Why is it okay to eat plants if they don't want to die? Give me a clear
answer to his question.
You're straw manning us again, Justin.
If you're going to propose the criteria is that plants respond to stimuli in reliable ways, and so do many complex and simple machines.
Love throwing around stimuli.
So does your car. Because that's what you're talking about. You're given examples of plants responding to something in the environment with some kind of response, and
you're muted.
You know. Right. So you're not distinguishing plants from simple and complex machines. So either
plants are not machines, bro. They're not machines.
Well, there's a sense in which plants, animals, and everything complex is a machine. They're just evolved machines.
Okay, so then why did you try to use that to dissuade the plants? You just said animals are like machines too. So your whole argument is now bunk bullshit.
No, it's not, because
yes, it is.
Can I answer your fucking question, or are you too much of a coward to listen to an answer to the question? You need to talk. Do you need to continually talk over the answer to the question that you asked because you're afraid of how strong that answer is?
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you said. You mentioned stimuli as it doesn't matter.
There is not a reasonable basis for thinking that responding to stimuli is a basis for moral status. Not only plants can respond to stimuli, but very simple machines like a thermostat can also respond to stimuli. A doorbell responds to the stimulus of something pushing on it and has a reaction. Okay, so if that's going to be the criterion, then you're going to have to go to a very implausible place where you think that doorbells have moral status and you can do harm to them. You know,
based on what you just told me, you said it doesn't matter because it's a stimuli. I pointed out a doctor hits my knee, so it kicks up, which is a stimuli. Is it now okay to cut my leg off? Because that's what you're saying. Don't change the subject.
If it's threatening,
I'll answer anything you want directly.
I'll answer that question right now.
I said,
Justin,
I don't know.
I'm prepared to answer that question right now if you can just wait 5 seconds. Okay? Okay? All right.
You're up on docs.
If cutting off your leg below your knee is necessary or at least mostly necessary or important to save the sentient part of you, your brain and central nervous system, the part that it's something like to be like, the part that has subjective experience, the part that can have positive or negative states like happiness or suffering. If it's a question of your leg, which yes can respond to a stimuli on its own, or the sentient you, then yes, we should cut off the leg. Every sane person thinks that. That's the whole basis for amputation. You don't amputate a brain to save a leg because the brain is the sentient being. You do the opposite. You amputate the leg to save the brain.
Saying is that because the plant responds to stimuli, it's now okay to just take a bite out of it. Is it okay to take a bite out of my leg if it?
Justin, most plants. So when a plant drops its fruit or vegetable, it doesn't die. You realize that, right?
Yes, like an egg. Correct.
So what are you saying when you're saying we're killing them? We're killing these plants.
I'm not talking about the fruit. My argument for that would be what's really the difference between an egg and a fruit, because it's really the same thing. It's the life form trying to reproduce, and it's the same thing. I'm talking about, like, let's say when you cut down a tree or something like that, or have like a piece of celery. My point is, he's trying to say, well, plants don't count because it's a stimuli thing. And then I just countered it by pointing out how when I go to the doctor with the knee, the stimuli, and I'm curious if he wants, it's okay to eat my leg now, because that is what you're saying based on your argument. Yeah, it is. I want the chunky librarian guy. That chunky librarian guy that keeps calling me dumb.
What?
The chunky librarian guy. What do you got for me? So would you take a bite out of my leg? You wouldn't have a problem with that?
What are you talking?
What am I talking about? You said it's okay to eat plants because they respond to stimuli. I pointed out something on myself that has stimuli. Is it okay to eat me?
Justin. It's not that it's okay to eat plants because they respond to stimuli.
That was your whole argument.
No, listen, calm down. Listen.
Okay.
It's that the fact that they respond to stimuli is not a reason not to eat them. Okay? It's not anything that responds to stimuli we should eat. Obviously, humans and non-human animals respond to stimuli, and I'm a vegan, and I'm not a cannibal. Okay? So it's not stimuli equals okay to eat. It's what is the thing that equals not okay.
So you're saying stimuli is no longer going to be used in the vegan argument. You're saying I'm not going to hear people bring up stimuli to me anymore. It's over.
I've never used the word stimuli in my life about anything that has to do with
having moral status. Sentience. That means having something that has subjective experience, something that it's like to be like from the inside.
And it has a similar experience to what we have.
I got a question, guys. Would it be okay to eat Justin due to the vegetative state of his brain?
Yeah, true.
Funny. Here, I got a question for you, right? I have nerve damage in my shoulder, right? One of my shoulders has some nerve damage. Is my shoulder with nerve damage less valuable than the shoulder that has fully functional nerves?
I don't know, but if you want to fix it, I'd recommend fasting like Jesus taught. He also taught veganism.
I don't really care about Jesus, to be honest. I'm more of a Tupac fan.
I mean, the serious answer, the relevance of your shoulder is that whatever it's okay to do to your shoulder is going to be ultimately based upon the feelings that you have, the fact that your brain and your central nervous system is sentient. If it's going to cause you excruciating pain, then that's a bad thing to do.
Countless scientists have proven plant sentience. It's all over YouTube.
Plants are not
your shoulder doesn't have moral status on its own.
Animal products. They're just running experiments. So how come you guys aren't up to date on that? Because like I said, I'm not saying that it makes it okay. I'm just trying to put things into perspective. I don't agree that it's moral to eat animal products. I just don't think it's moral to eat plant products, which throws a wrench in your argument.
No, I don't. Eat fruit.
Eat eggs.
Problem solved.
Eat eggs. Same thing.
Yeah, but eggs have dietary cholesterol, which your body cannot regulate. That's why I'm so pretty.
I'm 40 years old. I look like I'm 30 and I have high cholesterol. It's a good thing.
Justin.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Go for it.
So how do you and Larken Rose,
yes,
as swoofers, as libertarians,
well, we're definitely not libertarian.
Explain eating a diet that A, violates the NAP, B, is heavily subsidized by the government, so subsidized that you probably wouldn't be able to afford it if they weren't paying for it.
Well, all right. Well, is it the government's diet, or is the government just in the way of everything, like everything else? Like it's not like
you say the government wants us to be vegan, but they pay trillions of dollars for the meat and dairy industry to exist.
It's a slow transition. Like in New York now, they're forcing kids to go.
No. Get back to my original question.
Okay.
How do you guys justify it?
Because that's what my whole point is, that I don't see eating animals really than eating plants. I just think like we were thrust into the situation where we must eat to survive. And like I said, it just is what it is. That's why I don't make excuses for eating animal products. I just don't think it's moral to eat plants either. It's not okay to eat anything that wants to die. That's my point. If it doesn't want to die, you shouldn't eat it morally. Fact is, we're in a situation we don't know what to do. You know what I mean? See, I can even make the argument
that is it only about eating? Is it only about eating that animals and plants are wrong in the same way? Or, for example, if it's wrong to step on a puppy with your boots on, would it be wrong to step on some grass with your boots on?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
why not?
Really?
Why not? Yeah.
Right.
Well, like for example, did you know when it's being mowed and lets off that
hold on, Justin.
Other grass that it wants to die? Like I understand that it's kind of weird and awkward, but like it seems to me like you're just concerned with like your fuzzy wuzzies. Like you don't seem very concerned about like the insects or anything like that. You just seem concerned with what you want to pet, which is my whole problem. Like I admit, I don't really have an answer, and I've said that from day one. I don't really know what to tell you. It's just that the vegans are just so obsessive, and they just jump on every post and make it about veganism. I just combat them. And like I said, I'm not even trying to stop anyone from being vegan. I just want you guys to use better arguments. That's my whole point. Like the central nervous system argument is absolute bullshit. Like this whole time.
What's your better argument? What's your argument that beats it then? No, hold on, stop. You still haven't answered my question. So so you don't know.
No, I did. I don't have.
You don't know is your answer to the NAP narrative, the NAP question of how do you?
I think it applies to everything. I don't think morality.
Your answer is I don't know.
Correct.
So
yeah.
okay, how do you justify eating the most subsidized food? How do you call yourself a libertarian? How do you call yourself a truther?
I don't call myself a libertarian.
The most subsidized food that we have access to as humans.
I've never voted in my life. I'm not a libertarian. I actually think the libertarians are a bigger problem than the Democrats.
Answer the question. Truther.
I don't have. I told you I don't have the answer. What I'm trying to explain is that I do it because I understand that I have to eat to survive, and being all of this life is alive and doesn't want to die.
Justin, we know you like emulating Larken Rose, so emulate Larken Rose right now and answer the questions that I asked you.
Well, we're totally different people. That's the
I don't know. You repeat everything he says, so
like what? Hold on, give me an example of that. If I repeat everything he says, you should have loads of examples.
You repeat his bad arguments, but you repeat them worse.
Which ones? You said I do all of them. Which
ones? You don't even understand them, so you can't explain the argument.
If I do it all the time, you have loads of examples to give me. So what are the arguments that I'm stealing from Larken Rose? What are the arguments I'm using that I use all the time? If you have so many of them, name one. Point one out.
I'll be back. I got to take my puppies out.
Point one of the arguments out.
Come on. Let's go.
Let's see.
What happened to John Bob? He dropped dead from malnutrition? What?
You're fast talking too much.
He told you what
he fasted too long and died.
You just didn't listen.
So what are the arguments that I've been stealing?
So you're incapable of answering any questions. You just say, I don't know.
No, you're just changing the subject because I'm pointing out the fact you said I do something all the time and have no examples of what I do all the time.
What are you talking about? The whole vegans are dishonest. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm just pointing out that they're dishonest.
Argument.
That's literally shit he says all the time.
Yeah,
like that's literally a video he has. Vegan dishonesty.
You really believe that John Bob's penis?
And then you can't
whoa.
explain your position. Therefore, it sounds like you just stole it from someone and you don't understand it. And your buddy Larken has all the same arguments. He's just he's a little bit more concise than you. You have no idea like how to back up your arguments.
Because that's not. I'm not
you think this vegetable thing defeats everything.
Animal products. That's the problem. I'm not trying to argue that it's moral to eat animal products. That's why we have a problem. I'm just pointing out that it's not okay to eat plants either, because for the same reason they just behave differently because they're plants. I just admit that I do eat animal products again, and I eat plant products too, and I don't really know what to do about it because whatever created reality created in this way. I'm not going to harp on and just shit on everybody for what they choose to eat.
Yeah, so what I said, you're just saying I don't know. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm going to do, even though it's morally questionable, definitely ethically questionable, definitely economically questionable. And
I don't think it is. Well, okay, we're talking about morals, right? How come Colin Smith thinks it's okay to eat?
I don't fucking care what I am me here talking right now.
Well,
you guys love always like going after someone else when you're talking to me.
Isn't this whole podcast about Larken Rose? This whole thing is based on going after someone else.
Why you change the subject?
What do you just changed the subject?
No, you still haven't answered the questions. You just keep talking and saying that you don't understand and you don't get it.
But then he cheats on his woman. That's
slow down and listen, Justin.
Yeah.
Talk too fast, too much.
I'm an intense guy. I got a lot going on here, and I was badly abused. So it's a collection of being enlightened and abused. You know.
Why haven't you moved out to your property where Larken made you cabins?
I plan to. I'm probably going to within the next year or so. I'm just.
That's what you said 3 years ago.
We didn't even buy the land 3 years ago. No, it's coming along and everything like that. But I plan to.
Coming along exactly.
Was that?
What's coming along?
The place.
Yeah, I saw the cabins. They look pretty dope.
Yeah, it's coming along. You know, we're doing our thing. You know, when society collapses, we'll have a place to go. You know.
Nice, dude.
Well, you still coming, Jeff? Jeff, you coming?
I wouldn't put all my eggs in a basket counting on Larken, bro. Maybe you should plan for yourself. Just saying. But I heard that name like a dozen times while I was walking away to take my dogs out. What were you saying?
What do you mean? Why do you dislike Larken so much? Like, what did he do to you? Have a sandwich?
He's a bootlicker.
No, he's certainly not. Where are your videos calling out the police? John, where are your videos calling out the police? Oh, my phone's going to die.
Oh, boy.
What?
Plug it in, Justin. How come you still don't have a phone charger? I don't understand.
I can't. People are calling me all day. I'm big time.
They're like $5 on Amazon. They'll ship it to your door.
I should. I got to go.
You're always in your home, but your phone's dying. I don't understand.
Well, I gotta go to the I gotta go to my new girl's house anyway, so I couldn't stay on too long. I'm dating the old woman, so I gotta go over this.
Oh, your trans girlfriend?
Wait till you see this girl. He's definitely not trans, that's for sure. I actually inspected. She's not trans. I made sure before we started hanging out. Things are weird these days. I don't want problems. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know.
Someone asked you a question in the comments, Justin. Answer the question before you run out of battery. The main comment.
Breaking a tree branch is just. Well, I don't support the police at all. So I don't know why you have like supporters on the tape.
Deflecting. You're deflecting.
Would you assault somebody if you saw them hurting a dog?
What's that?
It would hurt. It would hurt you more to run over a dog than to hit a fly with your car, correct?
Correct. Yes. So okay.
Yeah.
What
break
you're
a tree branch with your...
is like, do I see the difference between like a plant and an animal? Yes, I
Higher
do.
sentience.
Well, my answer to that is this: is that what the hell is that?
There's a direct connection by how much we feel about things with how sentient they are. Obvious.
But here's the problem with that, though, is that the reason we feel that way is because, wait for it, we're animals. We're tuned to the same frequency that the animal kingdom is. It's self-interest. Is it objectively?
What I would ask you, right, cannibalism.
Is a tree that provides,
I get it.
Provides air, shelter for other animals, and all these other things.
Oh, society built
me valuable. I don't think that it is.
A city where people cannibalize other animal friends, and it's just I'm just gonna go along with it because I'm Justin Padini and I'm just here and Godzilla's rad and Tupac's awesome. And
this isn't like Jenko.
Endless stream of vague Facebook posts about nothing. Whoa! Just all you do, dude. All you do is take like these ancient civilizations built these great things, and Justin just shits on them by saying aliens built them. Such an asshole, dude. All day long he does it.
I never said that.
Completely discounts these amazing things that these civilizations did thousands of years ago. This dude shits
They weren't white Europeans, so they
must be aliens. Godzilla built those.
Like
Godzilla's
prick,
not building. Godzilla's breaking. He's not building anything.
Prick, Justin.
What's that?
Such a prick.
I'm a prick.
Stealing credit.
Wait, how am I a prick?
They even knew, like, if you went to Egypt and they knew, like, they would beat your ass.
Why do you say that?
Because you're a prick.
Why?
You discount the great things these civilizations did by going,
wait,
oh,
it
was giants the size of mountains. We're
Jeff,
living
you think the
back in
Egyptians
the day that built all these things. Like, dude, you're completely shitting on the people that actually did the stuff.
Wait,
you think it's so hard.
I gotta put in my comment here, very briefly here, Jeffrey.
Jeff,
if there really were giants with interstellar, faster than light travel technology, the Great Pyramid of Giza is pretty fucking unimpressive.
Yeah, no shit.
I want to see more from you guys. What is this shit?
Hold on. Do you guys think that the Egyptians? Hold on.
If you lived out in the desert, Justin, and you didn't have your video games and you didn't have your porn, after a while, you'd get really good at doing stuff. And then you teach it to your kids, and your kids would get even better than you were. And then they'd start sculpting these amazing things out in the desert that
be done with that.
Seem like impossible that people in the past did it. And so you completely shit on those people that did this stuff.
Who did it?
Oh, yeah, just some guys hanging out in the desert. Yeah, some guys hanging out in the desert with no distraction.
Wait, Jeff,
generations of hundreds of years of people get really good at shaping rocks and stuff like that.
To be clear,
I don't know who said that, but I want to think
that's what you're saying. Jeff, hold on. So what you were saying is that you think the Egyptians built the pyramids. That's what you're telling me, Jeff?
Is that what you got by what I just said?
Yeah. That's what I got. You're saying the Egyptians
not at all. I didn't even say Egyptians or pyramids.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's not what I'm saying.
What are you trying to say? Who do you think built the pyramids?
I don't know. I'm agnostic on the subject. I haven't seen enough evidence yet, and I've seen a bunch of bullshit and cover-ups and a bunch of like history being written by the victor and countries completely like, all these keep the information not being, and these bullshit narratives that don't seem like they're actually real.
Like,
okay.
I agree. There's too much information out there, and we weren't there for us to decisively tell the truth or not. Anything we say would just be theory or conjecture.
If you want.
Justin's an Egyptologist, you guys. Why don't you ask him questions?
Justin,
he really likes questions.
I'm better than an
Justin.
Egyptologist. I'll tell you the truth.
How the fuck can I trust you about that when you think it's okay to enslave 70 billion animals and worship somebody as a master, practically?
You're just an obsessed weirdo.
Blood death cult,
you eat husks and you eat you eat husks and stalks if you want to use corpses. Like you're just using sensationalized words.
What the fuck are you talking about? I'm eating a banana. Do I look like a cow?
And cows
husks and stalk.
Corpses. Like you're just using sensational words, bro. You have no argument. You know, the fact of the matter is, I
No,
don't
Justin,
think
you have
it's
no argument.
moral to eat animal products, but I don't think it's moral to eat plants either. They don't want to die. So why don't you, John Bob? Why don't you start sun gazing? You know,
Dude, check it out.
We as
I'm
vegans don't
eating a
say hard
banana.
things.
There's
How
no
about
seeds
Roombas?
in it, and the plant didn't die.
How about
So I
doorbells?
fit both your criteria
Doorbells don't
there.
want to
I
die
can eat
either.
all I want.
but you interfered with what that plant was trying to do. Who are you to eat fruit and move the seeds around? What if?
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I just guarantee if I go and ask the doorbell right now, do you want to die? It's not going to say yes.
It's called a fucking symbiotic relationship, man. Symbiotic.
Lawrence and Jeffrey on Facebook. Next, what's your point?
Symbiotic.
Yeah, well, I know Peter Parker,
relationship.
Eddie Brock.
The plants
I
need
get
us to survive. They depend on us to eat them and shit out the seeds and
Where
spread
is
those
that?
plants
You
around.
just made that up. You just made that up because you like it. There's no evidence that we have a symbiotic relationship. Like the plant was long before human beings.
And yet I shit out seeds that cause these animals or plants to spread. Okay.
Ruminants.
Just me taking a
you guys
shit
love
and
throwing that
seeds
ruminant
growing
word
proves
around.
my argument.
Who what? Charisma argument?
I said just me taking a shit and some of the seeds growing out of it proves my argument. Cause and effect, man.
Wait, you don't shit in the toilet? Where do you shit, John Bob?
Shit wherever the fuck I
John Bob
want.
probably shits outside in a hole, I'm sure.
Well, okay, John. Don't you think you're a little extreme sitting outside in the hole and you're wondering why the world can't be like John Bob? I mean, that is kind of extreme, bro. You know,
it's noble.
John Bob is extreme.
On some level, it is. Okay, it's still John Bob is the next step in human evolution.
Imagine if John Subsidies went vegan and he lost 150 pounds.
Yeah, I know. He's the size of one of my shoulders.
Yeah. You'd be buff as fuck and lean.
I'm not into being lean. I like beef.
You would have you'd have no chance of having a heart attack, which is definitely on the horizon.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that like that's
I want to see
being
but
alive or not.
Well,
I'm looking to get
I want to see your blood work, Justin. You argue for abusing animals all the time. Prove to me that your diet's so fucking healthy. I want to see your heart rate.
Okay, I'll actually send it to you tomorrow. I've got my blood rate work done every year the last few years, and I'm in perfect health other than the fact that my testosterone's a little low because I haven't been working out and I'm 40.
That's not why.
Dude, I'm 40. My fucking testosterone's through the roof, man. I wake up with fucking morning wood.
You don't even have hair. What are you talking about? Like, bro.
Fucking low T. Are you even waking with a fucking flag raised or what?
Nope. He hasn't had one of those.
No, because I took care of business the night before.
Guy.
Yeah. No.
You're accusing your dick not to function. That's crazy, bro.
What's that?
I mean,
that's
so
fucking nuts.
To give some support to Justin, I actually don't think that like you need to you don't need to be vegan to be healthy. I think you can be healthy on like an animal-based diet. I think you go vegan for the ethics of it. Like I don't think you can be healthy as a vegan, you can be healthy as a non-vegan. I don't think it's like a huge like
But in terms of ethics, though, couldn't I argue that being plant-based is actually more violent? Because like a boar or like a cow or something we kill, they actually can like run away and have like hooves and horns and venoms and tusks to fight back. Most plants can't do that. So like, couldn't I just argue that like you going after defenseless plants makes you guys more of a bully? You ever look at it that way?
No. Well,
how about doorbells?
Right,
doorbells are way than a plant.
What's that?
Or go ahead, Jeremy.
Fuckers, you guys want all my food, don't
doorbell can't do shit if you want to uninstall it and take it to the dump or slash it with a hammer. They even plants at least can't have poison and spikes and stuff like that. Thorns. Doorbell is it responds to stimuli, you know.
I was about to say that.
What?
Press on it.
It does, when you press on it, it does something. It has a reaction, and it's completely defenseless. So.
And you can hear it with your tools.
How do you justify that abuse?
I just wouldn't go to your house.
Yeah. So stimulus response or or having some kind of a bit of a complexity is not a reasonable basis for a moral consideration. Sentience, the ability to actually feel subjectively happiness and suffering, is a reasonable basis for
right. So then how
we should care about
respond to positive and music and negative music differently if what you're saying is true that they don't? But they do. I can literally watch it on YouTube. If you play like dark heavy metal music, they'll respond completely differently than to classical. So why is it okay to eat them if they have a conscious response?
I mean, they're machines that respond to music too.
You can't prove that it's conscious. It might just be the vibration of the speakers that are right there.
No,
you can't prove any of that.
Larken actually,
just watching a YouTube video doesn't prove it either.
One of my vegan arguments. What's that?
And shit like that gets debunked all the time. Old crap that we got taught back in elementary school, where you probably did a science test.
No, that old stuff did, but this is different because when you would talk, I know what you're talking about. When you would talk to plants,
completely ridiculous argument for what vegans are doing. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous.
But that's not an actual argument. Saying it's ridiculous isn't an argument.
It's not.
If you just go on YouTube,
no, but the 3 other hours I've explained to you concisely where you're wrong is where the difference is, where I actually mean something. Just because I just said that and you jumped all over that. That's just the debating 101 right there.
The point is that plants do.
The point is nothing, dude. You have no point. We aren't saying we cause no harm to any living thing on the planet. We're saying we do less harm to what we.
All right, guys. I want to prove a point real quick, please.
That was my point about the cow thing. If you only ate red meat, meaning only for every meal for a whole year, you'd eat less than 2 cows. How many life forms die? Even if, well, let's just say that you're right and that the animals are more valuable.
Justin, those cows eat plants, you retard.
Eat plants.
Those cows eat plants.
Especially like grass-fed cows, like they're gonna like use a lot more land.
You can't have 2 arguments that don't go together, Justin. This is where you're a terrible debate tactic that you always do. You can't have countering arguments that you give. They have to actually.
What was the countering argument?
Animals.
What was the countering argument?
They also
what was the
cows live off
cattle have to be sprayed with
vegetables and
to
plants.
kill the insects that bother them.
You're white knighting for vegetables all over the place. You're plants life matters guy all of a sudden, but then all of a sudden now you have a cow and it's okay that your cow's eating plants, even though it's completely inefficiently.
Yeah, I'm just okay with death.
Making calories.
I'm anyway. I worship death. I'm okay with death. It's cool.
Oh boy.
I mean, I will say real quick, in the spirit of generosity, and I'm 100% sure that Jerome is going to instantly agree with this. It's vastly morally better for somebody to switch to eating entirely cows from eating entirely chickens, for example.
That's true.
Because the size of the cow means it takes a much larger time and number of meals to cause one death, and also because the experience of broiler chickens is far more hellish than the typical experience of cows.
Every time you
so
have
there
a
are
salad,
there are moves like that.
How many life forms die every time you guys have a salad? Even if they are less valuable, less than 2 cows by only 8 red meat. What's the problem? I can't have 2 cows.
Wait,
have 2 cows.
That's not true, though.
For one, you're fantasizing about something you'll never do. You'll never just do that, Justin.
What?
So stop fantasizing. You live in New York and you eat pizzas all day. So stop acting like you're someone else who's living on some farm doing their regenerative grazing and shit like that. You aren't doing that. So let's talk about Justin Pedini instead of some guy that doesn't exist.
Wait, can I tell you about Wait, can I tell you about a fantasy of mine real quick? It involves cows and grass. No, it's good. It's not like
I don't want to hear you fantasize.
Think about this just for a moment. We
don't want to hear about your gay fantasies, Justin.
No, it's nothing sexual. It's just fun. I promise. I think you'll like this. So, you know how cows eat grass all the time, like that's basically all they eat. They just, as far, if you were a cow, as far as your eyes could see, just grass, ocean of food, as far as the eye can see. Imagine in place of grass, there were French fries for us. That way, you're walking up the block and you just hungry, just reach down, grab some fries. Imagine how dope that would be. This is the type of shit I think about while I'm high.
It's vegan, bro. It's very vegan of you.
Yeah, dude. That's space. It's vegan.
I'd be cool with that, you know? I'd be cool with that.
That's how nature
fries
is.
are awesome.
You're designed to eat almost every plant in nature. You know that, right?
Allie thinks I've been eating too many French fries recently.
From where?
What's wrong with your tail?
What kind of fries you like? I don't eat fries, but
Curly fries, waffle fries.
waffle, huh? Why not just eat the waffles then? You know,
Steak fries.
Steak fries, yeah. Oh yeah, those are non-vegan fries though, right? The steak fries definitely those off limits.
I like steak fries
for
as
me.
well as thin ones.
So bite into it, Jeff. Bite
As long
into a
as it's
steak
got
fry,
good
almost like a
seasoning on it.
PTSD.
Some kind of Cajun
Yeah.
fries.
The steak fry.
Dude, I've been rocking some mashed potatoes recently though.
Yeah, I like
potatoes.
smashed
Potatoes are, dude. White sweet potatoes are the bomb.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
correct.
live long to be a good
Oh, shit,
actor.
my shit's gonna die. I'll talk to you later. Peace out, fellas. I gotta go.
Fuck off, Justin.
Toodles.
Who said that?
Yeah.
You live longer to be a more
I don't eat
effective
that many
actor.
sweet potatoes in America.
No, they taste
get back
like
to Korea,
they taste
so
like
I'd eat
vegan
the sweet
tamale,
potato
like a
smash.
tamale almost. They're sweet, and if you put salsa on them, it tastes like a vegan tamale. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they're awesome. It's true.
All right, we're gonna watch this movie. I kind of like this video. This guy's not vegan. He just has his channel's kind of cool. He looks at like what our impact is on nature and kind of stuff like that. But this video is pretty cool. Whenever you want me to pause, say pause.
I'm sure is excited to talk about regenerative ranching and regenerative farming, this new concept sweeping the web. Except this new concept that we're cheering for is being implemented by the people that are supposed to have been doing this stuff from the beginning. You know, the people that are in touch with the earth, the 5th and 6th generation farmers, the people that know what they're doing because they've been doing it for so long. And yet here we are in 2020, almost 2021, and this is a new concept of not just raping the earth to its tipping point. So we already have some pretty blatant signs that this is a bunch of BS. Since regenerative ranching uses best practices, why weren't these people using best practices in the first place? There's two possible answers, and that was ignorance, that they really didn't know what they were doing the whole time, or they were just trying to extract as much from the land as possible in order to earn a buck, in order to get over that profit margin, which is increasingly harder to get over because it's incredibly unsustainable to be in animal agriculture.
He's honest.
Yeah. So herein ties the hypocrisy of the libertarian being a carnivore or promoting the carnivore diet or promoting any kind of carnism is the insanely economically psychotic. Like it costs so much to keep an animal alive. A, to buy it, B, to feed it, to give it land, to give it attention, to give it water, food, medical, everything. It's psychotic economically. That is why the government has to pay subsidies to these farmers and the corn and soy industry because it's so. Like they're paying for like 85% of what these fools are eating, and then these libertarian influencers are like, oh, we're keto carnivore diet. Oh, it's carnivore to be, we can eat whatever we want. And it's like, no, that's not the argument, bro. And like you're doing the complete opposite.
And the perfectly happy lives up until the moment of death that anti-vegans like to use in the thought experiments against vegans, and also deontologist vegans like to use against consequentialist vegans
and they're like, oh, I get my stuff from local farms.
That's like the last argument we have left to get over the hill now.
Some idiot like David Arenas is gonna say that that we consequentialist vegans we're just ready to and I didn't. He's Spanish. His Spanish speaker. His name is Arenas, right? What did you say, Arenas? I'm not trying to make his name sound like anus. I'm just trying to pronounce it in his native language. But no, this guy, like, you know, we had a falling out in the very first comment section we interacted on. But you know, the guy like that'll come up with these thought experiments to make it sound like somebody like me or like Jerome is just perfectly ready to accept for-profit animal farming as the moment that they're given perfectly happy lives up until the moment of death. But we're not fucking fools. We know that every step towards the perfectly happy life is going to become increasingly expensive, ultimately enormously expensive. Yeah. There's nobody who's running a for-profit business who is ever going to give sentient beings that they profit from anywhere close to a perfectly happy life. So yeah, in terms of expense, like it's utter common sense that
I had 2 goats once when my daughter was born. Instead of, you know, the soy garbage formula, I got a goat. I got 2 goats, and it was it was so much money. Like, especially feeding them organic, you know, like non-GMO organic. Like, because you can't, and it's like all these fools are all, oh, I just have chickens. They just eat whatever's on the ground. That only works for a couple, you know, like weeks, and then everything's dead. There's nothing else. You have to supplement those animals.
You have to get.
And you're going to the feed store. Yeah. You're going to the feed store, buying that feed, and you're buying all that diesel fuel that had to be expelled to make that, and all that.
What do you do when they get an infection on their foot? You know, it's like nothing fatal as long as you go and you get them checked out and you pay for the antibiotics or whatever, and you spend the time to administer it. A chicken can get pretty fucking expensive as a pet when you actually care about it.
Even just like dogs and cats, right? Like I spend like hundreds of dollars a month on my dog food, my vegan dog food, and I just spent like $8,000 on he had a surgery recently, so it's like, yeah, even like just like regular dogs and cats are expensive too.
Hey, why don't you just make your own dog food? It's way fucking cheaper, dude.
Yeah, that's what my mom did.
Well, I'm just worried about making sure it's like nutritionally complete. So it's just a lot easier to buy like the formulated stuff.
Okay, beans and rice, complete protein. Okay, beans and rice, so it's a complete fucking protein. You got all the amino acids you need right there. Okay, then you take
dogs are different from humans though, right? So they need like different.
That was
they are different, but a complete protein is a complete protein. In the animal world, in the human world, you know, we're all animals. But yeah, you know, are different. They're omnivores.
Most kibble for dogs is like
what?
Most kibble for dogs is like 90%, like the top 7 vegan staples. It's like it's like soy, oats, wheat, barley, and then
perfect vegan.
And then they like throw in a little bit of like chicken scraps, and then they'll slap chicken really big on the label as a selling point. Basically, what dogs, food that dogs are eating is mostly what vegans say you should always be eating. Yeah.
If I run out of vegan dog food, I do feed. I will make him like. So like the other day, like yesterday morning, I fed him like tofu and beans for breakfast. But yeah, for the most part, he just eats like vegan kibble. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get back to this video.
Okay.
Another blaring warning sign about these people who are patting themselves on the back for working with Mother Nature and getting back to the way things are supposed to be is that they're leaving out nature. Hello, Rancher Bob. Would you like some antelope? Would you like some deer? Would you like some elk on your land? No, thank you. We got our own animals. We got our domesticated livestock. Fuck your native grazers, fuck your native herbivores, and especially fuck your native predators.
The guy's spot fucking on, man. He's spot on.
Dude's dope. Yeah, and he's like, I don't think he's vegan. I think he's just like some guy. So he's just like calling out the bullshit for being bullshit.
At least he's right.
How non-vegan is he? Like, is he like is he just like a hunter, or is he? Okay.
I don't know exactly, so you can't quote me on anything. He may be vegan, but I don't think he is. His channel definitely doesn't look it.
Okay.
Probably a hunter.
Because I think he can make all these claims and be a hunter, because hunting is like pretty good for the environment in the most part. We like there may be issues like with the ethics of it, right? But like as far as the environment goes, hunting may be actually good for it.
So, people in the chat, these videos keep getting demonetized. Any super chats are going to go towards Opus Clip to clip up these videos. It's like an AI thing I got that clips up videos all crazy and puts them on YouTube. And it's not very cheap, but I'm going to keep doing them. So if anybody in the chat wants to do super chats, because we're not getting monetized, they hate everything we're talking about, obviously. Like I'll clip stuff up and I'll put it up and they're like, nope, and I'll go and I'll push them to review it, and they'll have a human review it, and the human goes, nope, like they don't want us talking about any of the stuff we're talking about. They definitely don't want to pay us to talk about this stuff.
I haven't even said the E word once. If it's already demonetized, I gotta start talking about the E word that refers to wanting future people to not terribly suffer because of deficiencies in the gene pool.
Based, dude, based.
How many times can I say it in the rest of this chat? I'm a big fan of the positive libertarian version of the E word, where we try to convince people to not bring children who are going to suffer from deformities into the world, or children with high criminal propensity or whatever else.
I was so back in 2011,
high propensity to addiction, dangerous addictions.
I lived at 1700 Hollywood Boulevard, which is like the W Hotel, and we had tore up the carpet and built a stage, and we had Ron Paul meetups in 2011, and he actually ended up writing about us in one of his books about these like we'd have we'd have these parties, and like the government people would show up, like people running for like whatever, and like just all these like randos. It was super cool. We had like 200 people in a tiny apartment once. It was nuts. But anyway, why did I say that? Shit,
I don't know, but it's cool.
What did you just say, Jeremy? It had something to do with what you were just saying, Jeremy.
Talking about the E word.
E. Oh, the libertarian. Libertarians. Shit.
No. A libertarian version of the thing that gets you called a Nazi by almost everybody.
Okay. So these Democrat girls,
future gene pool.
Okay, I remember now. These Democrat girls came over, and wanted to debate us on libertarianism, and like I made this girl. I went into the whole like, well, these people are kind of the most worthless people in our society, and creating a bunch of laws and taxes in order to take care of them through the government, doesn't really make sense if we're getting the least amount of value out of these people. And like these girls lost their minds, dude. They flipped out. They had never heard anyone say anything like that. Yeah. It was just like one of them started crying eventually. Like they could not deal. I was just like, dude, it's like foundations exist outside of government. Like people like that will get taken care of. You don't have to force government at to hold a gun to your head to take money from you to take care of these people, when the families of these people can take care of them. There are foundations, there are churches, there's all kinds of stuff that take care of people like that isn't forced. But yeah, that argument.
Also,
I think just in general,
there's a pretty
people will do the right thing. I have a neighbor.
Yeah, and I was going to say, when you make people vastly wealthy or far beyond subsistence level, they do become more charitable. not every not as a rule in every society, but as a
stop
statistical
taxing
fact.
people and then see
And
how
so,
much everyone becomes more charitable. Like once our taxes aren't just taken from us and we could actually give to things we want to give to instead of who they want us to give it to, like Israel and stuff like that.
We could tithe 10% if we didn't have 13 to 20% or so being taken from us in taxes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everyone would be more comfortable to be more charitable.
Mm-hmm.
The whole needing government for charity to like make everyone be charitable is such a bullshit, like anti-human, like it's like the kind of people that are like, oh, humans are just bad, that's why we have war and we kill each other, we're just bad, it's like that whole negative BS.
Pretty much.
I don't think we'd have war without government.
Men will
most
never
likely
accept
not,
women
because
as political equals.
if our society was
Right.
I mean, if our society
that
was,
requires collectivism.
Yeah.
Warfare would be on a smaller scale if it was more individual society.
Yeah, and like if we all lived in villages and had tribes, like things get worked out a lot more on the tribal level when you get all the smartest, you get the men from the community and the smartest minds together to make decisions on things as a group, with everyone taken accounted for. That's even how you can deal with bad actors. Bad actors can be dealt with by society sometimes, by just people sometimes far better than with, by calling the cops and seeing what happens when you throw them into that system. I lived in Nicaragua for a little bit, and I was having breakfast, and there's this dude that used to run around town screaming crazy, like he had Tourette's, and like he'd either be like super nice and like happy one day or like super mad one day. And I was eating breakfast, and he came into the place where I was getting desayuno, and he was like screaming and yelling, and all the ladies that worked in the market there like jumped up, grabbed him, and started dancing with him and like doing the Pulpa de Mayo on him and stuff like that. And he started smiling, and he turned around and left, and he was like happy for the rest of the day. And I was all, holy shit, that was crazy. Because he came in, he started throwing stuff like he was acting out. But that was one of their brothers, and so they were like, and they'd grown up around him, and they knew how to get him out of when he was being grumpy, give him a banana and dance with him, and it was
$1 million de-escalation technique.
Exactly. Where in our society they'll call the cops and escalate, and it keeps going for a long time.
Until you're in the ground.
Yeah. Or in jail. In jail, and then in the ground.
I think you guys are right about that charity thing, though. Me and my sister was just talking today, and I was telling her how my wife told me about. I bought some new land. I don't know if I brought that up to you guys, but I bought some new land, and my wife said that somebody's been pooping on it, and well. I know that's funny, but this is a poor community, man. Like, if somebody's got to go to the bathroom, they got to go to the bathroom.
No, it wasn't. You lived in San Francisco. I thought you meant in San Francisco or something.
No. This is the Philippines in the mountains. I mean, and we people have huts everywhere. And honestly, these people might be in poor houses in a poorer community, but they're happier than we are. So I don't want to judge anybody. But my wife said that somebody's pooping on our yard that we just bought, or our land, And I asked about the neighbor, I said, is it possibly the neighbor? I said, do they have a bathroom? And she said, no, I don't think they have a bathroom over there. And I said, well, then common sense would say it's got to be that person. And she's like, well, how about we just get some twine and put up ropes blocking off our land. And I said, honey, that doesn't get rid of the problem. The person's still got to go to the bathroom. And I said, we're doing nothing except for making them feel bad about themselves for having to do something that's perfectly natural. And I said, how much does it cost to dig in a latrine? You know, because over there, it's just labor. You dig a hole, you put a concrete thing over it with a hole in it, you're just fine. You know what I mean? And my wife said, you know, it'd probably cost around 500 to 1,000. It costs 300 for twine. So rather than spending the money on the twine and not even solving the problem, I could spend a little bit more, an extra $4 to $14 more, you know, and take care of the actual problem entirely and be able to actually help somebody. It's a no-brainer in my head, you know.
It's fun being a rich gringo in a third world country sometimes. You could just make shit happen.
Well,
you like hire 10 dudes.
It's not that much money, but you're right. I mean, I guess I am privileged in that way. But I see people in the third world country making just as much money as here. They have like brand new vehicles. They're in a cash-based society. You know, like I see people driving buses, like sports cars, you name it. But what I also see, there are these little minivans, these Suzuki minivans, and these motherfuckers are only $5,000-6,000, brand new. They got fucking screens in them and everything.
Aren't they four-wheel drive?
What?
Aren't they four-wheel drive too? They have like tons of cool cars in other countries that they don't sell here that are like really cheap.
Believe it or not, some of them are. They even have an off-road package for the vans I'm talking about. Like they literally have an off-road package, and it's four-wheel drive for when you're, you know, because a lot of people have land like in the mountains, and it's hard to drive to it. So it's pretty cool. Okay, I'm rambling now.
Animals that we created over years of breeding and brought over from Europe. They have absolutely no place in nature. They have no role in nature, and they do not benefit nature, but we continue to breed them because that's our living. Extraction, exploitation, and then selling the flesh on the market.
Taste.
Working with nature. You've got to be kidding. These are the same people responsible for the eradication of our native wildlife. They're the reason that we can't bring back native predators. They want absolutely nothing to do with natural process, except, of course, in the event that their animals get to graze upon a few native plants.
This shit is so good.
Speaking of native plants, how many of these people are actively going out and introducing perennial native plants?
None.
Does not work. Why? Because their fucking unnatural livestock destroy these things. When you have your studies and your little fake documentaries that herald cattle grazing as something good for the environment, and they show that when you have cattle there, good things happen, they're leaving out a really important detail. What's actually happening, if you see any positive signs, is that they reduced the amount of cattle grazing that had been taking place before. It's not that they introduced cattle and things got better. What we have here are people who exploited the land, who overgrazed, and that finally came back to bite them in the ass, and they couldn't deny it any longer. But now everyone's talking about, well, if we do regenerative grazing, you mean not overgrazing? You mean not destroying the land completely? You mean taking a few of the cattle away from there? Wow, you're such good people. You're so in touch with the earth.
Looking great, cows. Keep up the fine work.
The other aspect of this is that they force the cattle to move. You know, they force rotational grazing. Well, if this was natural, you wouldn't have to force it, because the native herbivores do move.
Damn, that's such a good fucking argument.
They don't sit there and just
because these dudes, they love that meme going around. There's nothing unnatural about a cow eating grass. You know, because they think it's so natural, and it's like, dude, this thing wasn't supposed to be here. Like, and they're like, oh, well, bison, and it's like, okay, well, there's, completely different.
Okay, so guys, I got my wife trying to message me, and I gotta go. I gotta buy some plants with her. We're trying to get a garden going, but since this but since this episode was about Larken, I just wanted to give my final take on the bootlicker. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So he supports law enforcement because law enforcement protects governments and institutions. And let's face it, corporations are a form of government. So is slavery. He supports slavery of sentient beings, and he supports corporations that are protected by the slave masters, their law enforcement they put in to protect the slaves, or protect the rights of the slave owner, I should say. He's fake as fuck. He doesn't believe in the nap, and he blocks people because he wants a fucking echo chamber because he's too big of a pussy to fucking actually debate with people. That's my final take on the guy. So I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Thanks for having me. Have a good night.
Good night. Later, John Bob. Yep.
Later.
Subsidy whores, man. They love.
Hey, real quick, does my microphone sound better?
Sounds great, dude.
All right, finally.
Almost better than me.
The earbuds
everything
were not
down
working out.
to the ground and under the ground to where it doesn't come back. But once again, here we have people that we're supposed to be applauding because they're finally forcing their cows to move instead of just letting them sit there and wipe out everything. Thank you so much. You're so in touch with the earth. You got that billionaire asshole up here in California who has no business raising cattle whatsoever, but he has a hobby ranch, and this went all over the internet because, hey, look at this beautiful land where we have cattle, and look, there's actually plants and things growing too. And it's because he's not doing it as a business.
Who's he talking about?
Sounds like Bill Gates, maybe.
Zuckerberg?
Probably
Might be Bill Gates.
Zuck. A hobby ranch?
Well, because Bill Gates, he's bought up a bunch of land in Washington, even.
Yeah, Bill Gates owns 900,000 acres, but there's like 900 trillion acres in the USA. He owns like 0.02% of farmland. But what he does do in Asia and Africa and India, he owns massive cattle farms. He owns and has owned for the last couple decades a lot of, like, maybe he may own the more cows than anyone in the world. And it's something that, like, these conspiratards don't like hearing. They're all caught completely off guard, like Mr. JD Farms. I dropped in on one of his live streams and dropped that bomb on him, and he was completely baffled by that. And it's like, so how is he pushing veganism when he owns more cattle farms than like anyone in the world, dude? Like, give me a break. Like, let me see the mental gymnastics. And unfortunately he doesn't even try, just like Justin.
The best thing you could say is he's double dipping.
Yeah.
Like, he has shares in Beyond Meat, but he's also willing to sell you dead animal flesh.
He's got like $400,000 he put into Beyond Meat. It's not even his company. He just threw some money on it. Like, it's not even a big deal. It's not what they're saying. It's pretty
like, stupid. I can invest in Apple and I can invest in Samsung at the same time. Doesn't mean I'm a fan of either one.
They're trying to make money, and that's what Bill Gates is, and that's what he's doing exactly. Is he's trying to make money, and he leans toward like global warming stuff. That's what all the GMOs are. That's what the fake meat and whatever. He's like a global warming guy. He's not a vegan guy. like these guys say he is. He's doing it for global warming. He's not pushing us to go vegan because it's not good for us or whatever. He's doing it because he thinks it's going to lower the temperature of the earth or something like that. So it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, and do you remember that? What was that thing? I think Burger King was doing a while back, where they were showing off that they were feeding their cows a certain kind of grass that was supposed to make them fart less, so less methane emissions.
Oh boy, yeah,
that was so dumb.
No, I swear, like someone I get in my Facebook, YouTube, in my Facebook messages, I get like these guys that just send me the dumbest videos, and it's just like this guy's like, cows are actually good for the environment, and it's just like, oh Lord, here we go, and they want me to sit there and explain it to them for 45 minutes while they do not listen to a word I say, like it's like I don't think so. Like you can watch the video.
Was trying to turn a buck. He unleashed a few cattle going through there, and once again, what do you think would have happened if you'd have used native herbivores? No, thank you. Not interested in helping the wildlife, not interested in giving them some habitat or seeing what would happen if we had some antelope or elk or deer, etc. No, fuck the wildlife. I'm a hobby rancher. I'm here to tell the world that cattle are the key to our future. Do you know how goddamn stupid that is? I know you're going to go and look at all these fucking papers that have been written, funded by Animal Ag, by the way. Gee, I can't imagine if those results are skewed at all. Just use your eyes, people. Use your common sense. You're literally saying that nature had it wrong, that biodiversity was stupid and nature should have never gone down that path. Fuck bears, fuck wolves, fuck elk.
And this is my argument, Jerem, against the taking all of animals out of nature. Who are we who say, or who are we to say that we know better than them to take care of them in a certain way that's going to give them or that's going to be in some sort of good way, and then beyond that is just who's the guy who's going to figure out whose way it's going to be, and like how are we going to be sure with it? How sure are we that he has the right way of doing it? And it just becomes really super sketchy because then it's just, we need big government to deal with taking care of all the animals now. So we needed big government to take care of us, right? Not. So now we need big government to, deal with who's going to be the guy implementing and where the money's going to come from to do it and all this stuff. And I get it. Oh, Lubass is here. I get it, but it's kind of like what Chris Hines said. He's just like, maybe we should like try and get everyone to go vegan first. Like it's not like completely off the table, but it's that argument.
Yeah, how can we?
But Jeffrey, that argument against central planning, I mean that sounds like an argument for diverse local decisions and anarcho-capitalism, sets of rules that are on a marketplace and subject to.
Yeah, but they would change everywhere you go, though. If it was a truly free society, you'd have places that didn't want to have anything to do with it. So you wouldn't be able to get the masses to agree unless it's a really good idea. It's just, it's just kind of a slippery slope once you start.
Think really terrible ideas would
control nature,
eliminated very quickly.
What's that?
What's that from me?
No, Jeremy.
I said just like how markets normally work. Extremely terrible ideas would be weeded out pretty quickly, and then there'd be choice for a diversity of not terrible ideas.
Yeah, but whenever you have an idea pool, it gets corrupted very quickly. Look at Reddit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, but the argument, the ANCAP argument would be, these cases are precisely cases where people don't face any threat from competition. They don't really have anything to lose. Reddit commenters are not providers in a marketplace. they're people outside, essentially outside of a market activity. They're basically consumers of trolling. You know,
The
they're
peanut
basically
gallery.
just doing something for direct benefit to themselves. They're not accountable to anything analogous to a customer, and so the argument would be that's why places like Reddit are such shit.
Did you see who's the
YouTuber
Rogan's UFC buddy who quit UFC because Rogan told him he sucked, and now he's a podcaster and a comedian? Big dopey guy. None of you know. That's so cool. I love that none of you know who he is. But anyway, this one of Rogan's buddies tried to sue a YouTuber who was making like critiquing videos of him because he's like a kind of a douche, and he took him to court. And the judge looked at his podcast and was like, "There's no value here. You guys aren't creating value by like, he's like, the guy's not stealing any value. It's just two dudes in a room talking to each other. Like, it's like, like, yeah, I don't know.
Ouch.
That's awesome. Wait, what's his name? Joe Rogan friend?
Brendan Schaub.
Brendan.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it sounds familiar, but
he's one of Rogan's guys that just like he made famous just for knowing Rogan, and like he's not funny. He's got like CTE from UFC. He was in the UFC and he was like good for a little bit, but then he started getting his ass beat, and then Rogan like on his show was like, dude, you need to stop because you fucking suck, and like on the show
guy who's
telling him he sucks and has to stop doing what he's been doing his whole life. It was pretty funny, but he's kind of a douche. But he tried to sue this troll. And the judge was like, you can't fucking, there's no value in what you're saying he took value from. Like, oh, this is just, this isn't art. This isn't music. This isn't, like, it's just two dudes talking. Like, don't be so full of yourself.
That's funny. Can I reply to your wild animal stuff or anything real quick?
Yeah.
So, right. So we have, right. So it's like we have like billions of, I mean, trillions if you count marine animals, right? Of like these animals in factory farms, right? But when it comes to wild animals, like the amount of like factory farm animals is just like a dot in like the mist of like the universe.
Yeah.
There's like so many wild animals, and like the vast majority, like over like 90%, it's like this crazy amount, don't even like make it to adulthood, right? And like they're typically like dying of like starvation or like hypothermia or like being like eaten alive. So it's like I find it like really hard to like imagine that they're living like a net positive life, right? So it's like even if we're not sure about like that 10% or like that 5% or something, it's like it seems really like implausible to think that like the wild is good.
I get that. It's just what you were saying, what was it a long time ago? Oh, you were saying it's better off to kill an animal on the spot than to release it into the wild. And that was
we were debating about mice. Like if you find a mouse in your house, it's better to kill the mouse than it is to like release it into the wild because like the death, like the quick death is better than like having it like suffer in the wild.
I feel like that's the same kind of arguments that carnists use.
No, that's what I told him. That's the carnist argument is we need to take care of these animals, right, and then it's a slippery slope to, we only take care of them until they're 4 years old and then we kill them, like.
Yeah, if I took a wrong turn in Albuquerque, I wouldn't want somebody to kill me over that.
I feel like also it'd be robbing the wild animals of dignity, like the dignity to live the life of an animal that may not survive to adulthood.
Well, why would I care about that? Why would I care about that if it like increases suffering in the world, right?
But it also
like according to my values.
that mouse could have had a great life for a short amount of time and valued that short amount of time more than you're saying that it's having a better life because it's longer.
But like, why would I risk that? Like it seems like the risk of like it being like suffer.
Say, like, do you like being free, or do you want me to take care of you? So you never really know whether or not you're violating that animal's rights by controlling it.
Well, it may be like a different in values, because like I don't actually value like, I mean, like I value freedom and rights in like some aspect of like the like intrinsic value, right? Like but not intrinsic like instrumental value. Yeah. But my like ultimate value is happiness, right? So it's like if like I wouldn't really care about like the rights to the like the mouse if it increases their suffering.
But you don't know it's increasing their suffering.
But there's a pretty like high probability.
What about their happiness? What about increasing their happiness? Maybe them going with you is suffering and not being free. You don't really know and you don't care. But they're like, oh no, this monster just stole me and put me in a box with a bunch of other people that I don't know. You know, like you don't know that they're happier just because they don't live, just because they're living longer in captivity somewhere. And that's where it's like, and then who's going to control that? The government? Yeah, right. You know, we're going to get together and pay some centralized agency to do it. Yeah, I don't see that happening. You know, like
real quick, I would just hope that Jerem's house wouldn't be like, he'd be like Jigsaw for the mice. Like it'd turn into Saw all of a sudden every time mouse he's like, want to play a game.
He's got little turrets that have like laser beams that shoot them.
Oh, Braxton, I mean, I don't hear Jerem. Talking about laws, you know, what people are required to do on pain of criminal arrest or whatever. He's just talking about what it would be the morally better thing to do when you have the choice.
Yeah, I'm not talking about laws.
Everybody's going to make that choice.
Yeah,
like I don't think the government should come in and like force people to kill.
He would actually kill the mouse, right?
I think he's saying.
Well, I mean, like if I found a mouse, like if I found a mouse in my house, I would probably kill it. Yeah.
They make pretty good live catch traps. I've used plenty.
I would probably let it go, but I wouldn't try to argue to somebody that I did a morally better thing. You know, I might have done a morally worse thing, and I should acknowledge that.
I guess you have to decide in the moment what level of intervention you're comfortable with.
I wouldn't like do like the nasty the
libertarian thing to do would be to take care of whatever animal I guess is on your property.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also not a libertarian, so that's the difference. Yeah. But like I wouldn't like to do like the nasty
Jeremy
thing.
Says he is all the time, but
well, I think overall he is. Like, I mean, he may.
Well, you know,
I think he disagrees.
Libertarian, and
you believe in the collective over the individual. That's the complete opposite of libertarianism.
Well, I think so. Jeremy is a libertarian by like how he votes. I think mostly, right? And that he values like liberty, because he thinks liberty increases utility, right? But he may not be libertarian in the way that like this like deontological like being like really just like the non-aggression principle is like the word of God or something.
Yeah, no, that's people that pat themselves.
I don't worship words, and I don't worship rules in and of themselves. I respect certain concepts and rules because of the positive consequences that they bring about. And I'm not a collectivist, because collectivists believe that different kind of collectives have a sort of well-being, like above and beyond the individuals that make them up. And I absolutely don't believe that. Insofar as you can say that there's an overall well-being, it's the well-being of each of the individuals put together, summed up. I don't think there's any sensible kind of charge to word collectivist in which I'm a collectivist.
This all leads to big government.
I told you I'm an ANCAP, and I believe that markets are going to work in the provision of services that today are normally provided by
Yeah, but you wouldn't have big
monopolies
blanket the whole place. You'd have a lot of different flavors of communities that would pop up with different rules and different,
I guess so.
Government styles.
Yeah,
or
if you want to call those governments,
it wouldn't be this
and
blanketing.
I guess you
the
will.
The entire world is working towards the greater good of every human. That just sounds like that's going to need some serious planning by a centralized government. You might be able to like, or communism, something like that, or about communism. Like,
I don't expect individual humans to be entirely prioritizing moral goodness. When I talk about moral goodness being the total collective well-being of all sentient creatures in the world, that I'm just defining what moral goodness is. I'm not proposing some kind of law for the criterion that needs to motivate every person's behavior, or we should lock them up. I'm just saying this is what moral goodness means. Individuals are still, of course, going to prioritize moral goodness to different degrees. That's their choice, you know. And I'm going to try to convince them to prioritize moral goodness.
Everyone's going to do it on their own, is what you're saying.
No, not everybody's going to do it on their own. I'm saying the best way to interact with other moral agents is to try to convince them through reason and empathy to move closer towards pursuing the moral good. And the reason is not that there's this absolute, like, fundamental written in stone principle that you should never violate freedom in and of itself. The reason is that attempts to change other moral agents' behavior through means other than persuasion regularly end in very destructive situations like warfare, blood feuds, constant violence that cause much more destruction than the benefit that the person intended when they started pursuing that course of action. That's how you get to libertarianism through ethical consequentialism, is you perceive the great global benefit that can come from a norm of persuasion and reason over a norm of tribal violence.
Well, I think, and there's also a limit to persuasion and how far that can get you. And that's the other side of the equation with the non-aggression principle, is the self-defense principle. And every being's right to that. I mean, every being in the universe kind of has its own way to defend itself, because there are those limits.
Yeah. But self-defense is reasonably constrained precisely by consequentialist considerations. That's that's why if you took a deontological stance on self-defense, then you might say, well, my property is my property, so if I want to put landmines around it, that's my right. But the difference between,
don't tempt me.
The difference between owning a firearm in your home and putting landmines around your property, it has to do with the anticipated probabilities of consequences. The child that wanders into your property could easily
you'd have to have really good insurance,
killed by the landmine.
Yeah,
but to have just a harmless child be killed by your personal firearm is a lot less likely. So the predicted trade-offs that come with the different available forms of self-defense are very relevant to their moral acceptability. And that's a different question from their legal acceptability. But there's a moral issue when you're asking, which means of self-defense should I should I choose as a decent person? It's going
and what I can afford.
It's going to be because
not all of us
that too,
have
but
access or can afford
there's
landlines.
Like in an insurance-based society, you'd have to pay a lot of money in insurance to have some sort of heavy weapon around. So that would be weighing like, okay, do I want to pay $800 a month to have a fucking turret up there? Like it's in the free market,
if you have two
you'd
choices,
be able to. You'd have the right to, because you have the right to defend your property. You'd have the right to, but would it make sense? That's like the age-old libertarian argument, or the anti-libertarian argument is, everyone's just going to have nukes in their backyard. And it's like, A, no one's going to be able to afford them. B, who's going to want to live with someone with a nuke? No one's going to, none of these cities are going to accept him. None of the insurance companies of these cities are going to allow him to get insurance in their town having a nuke. So he's got to know, if he wants to keep a nuke, he's going to have to live out in the desert in no man's land with all the crackheads that aren't at a, I guess, social credit score enough to get insurance to live amongst normal people because they've done something bad in the past and they haven't fixed it.
Hey, you mentioned crackheads. I mean, that's
so
the
I was
same thing with
another example is
decriminalizing drugs. I mean, how many crackheads are we going to have if they legalize crack? It
won't be half as interesting. No one cares about weed anymore because it's pretty much legal.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting, isn't it? As a
I'm sure if they legalized fully automatic machine guns, it'd be interesting for quite some time, and then it'd be pretty passe.
I'm interested to see what happens in Portland, because they decriminalized drugs in Portland, and now they're looking to
girl.
They're looking to
from your voice. What girl is on the panel? Oh, it's Jerem. You have the softest voice.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I'm curious to see what they do in Portland, because they decriminalized drugs, and now they're looking to reverse that. So it'll be cool to see how those
I wonder why
different things.
Well, compare. Of course, when any kind of legislature goes through like that, instantly the antis are going to put in and try and get it overturned.
Sure,
it's been going on for a while, though. Right?
I would wonder what headline that was.
Portland,
where it came from.
It's pretty relevant that Portland decriminalized drugs at the same time as they basically canceled their police enforcement against shoplifting, vandalism.
California did that too. Well, dude, ever since the cocoa has been gone, dude, there's no cops around LA anymore. You don't see people pulled over on the freeway.
No.
You don't see people getting small tickets. You see tons of cars with registration that's out getting away with it. They don't just pull over for medial things anymore. They overturned a bunch of laws, like restaurants used to not be able to send alcohol home with you. Now they can. They loosen things up and they haven't pulled them back.
I
but
don't think
California,
you can form a good judgment about
all those videos from
drug decriminalization is from Portland, because a good libertarian, kind of drug decriminalization would involve holding people responsible for the actual invasions of other people that resulted from their drug use.
Right. Yeah. It's just a blight on society. I mean, whether you're free to do those things or not.
Well, you're free to do those things, but you won't be able to free to do them in these communities that don't want people like that around, that you don't have the money to get into. It's like toll roads, dude. Toll roads are amazing. Toll roads combat crime so much it's not even funny. There are these communities out in Orange County. There is zero crime because the toll roads are so expensive.
Yeah.
To go out to a place, it costs so much. You better have a damn good reason, and you have to be cleared to go in on this toll road. It's like, and that's not even that hard to do something like that. It's not even futuristic or anything. It's like really pretty medial to put together a system like that.
You know the expression, crime don't climb?
Yeah.
It means
it's a good one.
It means that the criminals don't go up a hill.
Yeah.
If you're somewhat familiar with San Francisco, right?
Yeah. They poop.
You know where the Tenderloin is and where Nob Hill is in San Francisco?
Yeah.
Really, you know how close the Tenderloin, one of the famously like worst neighborhoods in the country, and Nob Hill are, right? They're very close to one another. And it's just downhill and uphill. And the people in the nice houses in Nob Hill don't have to worry with just an insane amount of crime taking place outside their doors. Part of it is law enforcement will respond to calls there, but a big part of it is just that big steep hill.
Yeah, no one wants to go up there. Me and Allie went to San Francisco a couple of years ago, and we were like, I wonder if we're going to see poop everywhere, and we did. It was weird. I didn't see any homeless people, but there was human shit everywhere.
Damn.
Human shit.
Yeah. All right. Video's going back on.
We ever really needed was cattle. Look how great the land looks.
Yeah.
Kidding me, people. Open
This
your
guy
eyes.
has
That
to
does
be
not
vegan.
look like good land.
Kind of looks vegan.
So a couple of people are finally debunking this bullshit, and one of them is, of course, carbon sequestration. And one of the problems with this theory
Didn't I talk about this?
Carbon equilibrium.
Didn't I mention this last week?
Yeah.
About in Santa Cruz, the little regenerative
This
grazing.
is it, Point Reyes.
Yeah. Or this is something similar. This is something similar to that. Where they were like, oh yeah, it's good for the local plants, but then they had a fence around the local plants, keeping
and the animals are in a shithole.
Yeah, and there's just poop everywhere. Lubass is flipping out right now. He can't take it. Lubass, get up here, fat boy. It's funny, all these carnivores and stuff, you can call them fat people and you can call them fats and things like that, and they can't get mad because they're saying that fat is good. So
True.
Now, do I really have to scientifically explain that shit on top of shit on top of shit on top of shit eventually doesn't work? That maybe there should be a system involved here, that just adding more poop on top of land that's already covered and saturated with poop doesn't yield biodiversity? Yeah, you'll get something to grow, something very unnatural. And if that's what your end product is, then so be it. Stop pretending that you are in alliance with Mother Nature. And on the same note, I have a very long, detailed video about this with an ecologist explaining, but here is the short version. The plants that are grown where cattle graze do not have a root system capable of carbon sequestration.
That's the extent of the roots. These are little annual grasses that live a season, a spring, and then they die.
The plants that are capable of that are perennial plants, plants with long, deep roots, ones that need to not be grazed upon by cattle in order to survive. Well, that's why we're rotating the cattle now. You honestly just had to figure that out now after the fucking land is absolutely decimated. You're like, oh, well, if we plant some native plants, maybe this time we'll stop the cows before they completely fuck everything up. And then we'll call ourselves great because we allowed a couple of things to survive. Point Reyes National Seashore has to be the most alarming example, and it's one that is right next to me, of why this is all bullshit. The cattle grazing
Point Reyes is like Central California, beautiful coastline.
Industry is so intensely demanding that they want every piece of grass out there to be for the cattle and the cattle alone. There is no room for nature to the extent that they want the elk that recovered from the brink of extinction to be killed in order to protect that tiny little profit margin supposedly that the elk are infringing upon.
Macropness!
Because you just can't spare a blade of grass when you're trying to make a profit in animal ag. Now tell me again, just how hand in hand this regenerative ranching is with Mother Nature. This is a national seashore. These are your mom and pop farms, which aren't mom and pop farms, but that's a whole documentary in itself. Let's go ahead and pretend that they're mom and pop farms, because that's what they tell everyone that they are. And everyone driving through there believes that they're mom and pop farms. And yet these mom and pop farms can't afford to live.
Yeah. Up in Central California.
Yeah, this was completely different before the arrival of humans.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say almonds are bad.
And any elk out there. But we love nature, but just fuck nature. You know, we'll say we love nature, but get nature the fuck out of here. We're trying to conduct business. You city slickers don't know what you're talking about. We've been doing this our whole lives. We do this for a living. In fact, our grandpa was doing it before us, and his grandpa before him. We know what we're doing, and yet we're just now going to start doing it right with this new concept of regenerative ranching. Have you heard of those cutting-edge regenerative landscape companies that bring in cattle because cattle stimulate native plants so well that it just makes everything look great? Neither have I. Yes, you do need some form of animal eating plants in order for that system to be balanced, just like you need predators feeding on those animals for the system to be balanced. That's not taking place here. Once again, why aren't we using nature's animals? What's that? You're involved in an extractive, exploitive industry that depends on a bottom line that can't afford any leeway, like letting nature have a spot here? Oh, right, that's called ranching. Let me switch things up. Let me approach this topic from the other direction, if you will. Have you ever visited a farmed animal sanctuary where they take animals that have been exploited and abused on ranches and they try to give them a better life? Well, the land at those sanctuaries has been destroyed by only a handful of these animals. You want these animals to be able to roam around. You want them to enjoy some sense of freedom in the process of giving them a better life. But in so doing, you have also subjected your...
It's like any zoo you go to, it's just a shit pile. Like everyone who works there is just cleaning up shit nonstop. It's fucking gross.
...habitat to domestic livestock, and the results are not good. But it's not just that only a couple of cows can decimate the entire acreage of your sanctuary and turn everything that was green and beautiful to dirt and mud. It's also the mind-blowing amount of waste that these animals produce. They eat and they eat and they eat and they poop and they...
So when I had those goats, I had 8 acres, and the mama goat and the baby goat decimated that place. And there was a 6-inch pile of little fucking BB shits over every single inch of the place, as well as piss. And it was fucking disgusting. Like, this is what they want to do to the entire country?
Don't goats eat the roots too?
I wanted to say something.
Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, a while ago, just really fast, just a while ago, in response to what Jerome was saying about how the number of farmed animals is tiny compared to the number of wild animals, but that's only including all animals, you know, including insects and including like very small, fast reproducing vertebrates. But when it comes to like medium to large size mammals, the number in factory farms is huge compared with the number of like what we ordinarily think of as like medium to large size, kind of like charismatic mammals in nature. And they're way more cows than deer, for example. And so, you know, so the earth can't support, like reasonably support, anywhere near the number of animals that we have farmed like quote unquote livestock. You know, when you see what kind of a natural system looks like the number of deer that there end up being is really tiny compared to the cows and pigs and sheep that humans farm.
Yeah, there's Catalina Island off the coast of LA. They like took a bunch of bison out there for a bunch of movies, and then they just let them go, and they decimated the place. And you see the deer, and the deer are like emaciated, all of them. They're like dying, and they actually went out there and killed a bunch of the deer because they were eating. You know, there was some reason, just like what he was saying. They killed the native deers for the bison that weren't native there, that are just there because of the movies, and they're people, the tourists want to see them. So there's like money for the area,
like the
but
pigs on the Bahamian Islands.
Yeah. Pig Island.
Pig Island, yeah, the tourist trap.
And Jerome, I'm not saying that we shouldn't care about mice. I know that there are a lot more rodents which are
nice.
typically
I love rodents.
pretty highly sentient compared to the number of farmed animals. Just so not in a full like a consequential sense, but just in the environmental sense of the role of kind of like large eating and pooping animals.
Hey, just to go off of what we were talking about earlier, I was just speaking with an activist out in Florida that was heavily involved in the shutdown of was it Seaquarium? You guys know about that? The Seaquarium's getting shut down out in Florida.
No.
Yeah, so I guess it's but what do you guys think should be done with the animals from those facilities? Should more of them begin to shut down? Like, what's I don't know, what's your guys' verdict on how do we help these animals?
Well, I mean, if you see what those kids that are down in the Arctic ramming whaling ships and stuff, what's it called? They get a lot of money to do stuff. Yeah, Sea Shepherd. They get millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to do stuff. So I guarantee that there's enough people out there that would put money together to build some sort of half wild sanctuary for them until they pass, and then that act, you know, that the idea of having tame animals like that will be gone. But I don't see that.
So you think there's a point where they can't be released to the wild?
Yeah, definitely.
Or that's
definitely.
That's like a death sentence to release them into the wild.
Yeah.
There was that owl that escaped the zoo in New York. You guys know about that one that was living in Central Park?
No.
It was like a horned owl, like one of those really large owls. Yeah, I guess it died. Yeah, it died recently. I guess
and eat all the cute little
songbirds. Yeah,
songbirds.
eating all the mice, all the little bunnies in Central Park. I think it died recently.
That'd be crazy to be a bird watcher who liked all the songbirds, and then you just see like a dozen of them get eaten by an owl in one session.
Yeah, but I guess they're trying to make that argument because that owl didn't, survive too long out in the wild.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get a large amount, probably overwhelming amount of the overwhelming large amount of them probably would, but it's like the stupid idea, like, oh, if you see two animals fighting, you shouldn't get involved. The whole like natural, oh, you need to let nature do its thing. It's like the dumbest thing that people repeat and don't intervene in things. I don't know.
I would want somebody to help me.
Did you see Humane Hancock's speech at the vegan campout called the Vegan Blind Spot?
Dude, yeah, it was awesome. It's fantastic.
I haven't seen that one.
Jerome and I both love Humane Hancock. Jack Hancock.
Awful.
Yeah, he's awesome.
We talk about him a lot.
He's a douche.
I think he's one of the best. Like, vegan,
doom and gloom, fucking crazy, fucking like guilting you for no reason, like guilting you for shit you have no fucking control over, guilting you for shit you have no way of changing or doing anything about.
He's just telling you that it's bad.
Doom and gloom. I would have booed him if I was there. I would have straight up booed that guy if I was there. I'd have been the only one. Oh, fuck you, boo! You fucking
is it guilting people to say like cancer is bad? Like, oh shit, they can't do anything about cancer, but cancer is bad, I'm not shaming somebody by saying the obvious thing that cancer is bad. And like Jack's example of like an elephant trapped in quicksand being like eaten alive, starting with its trunk by hyenas, that is a fucking horrible thing. It's not the beauty of nature, and it's not like it's not fine just because
Look at how lovely nature is.
Any human's fault.
Yeah, dude, nature is no Disney movie. Yeah.
Oh, and yet, get you the fuck out of here. We're trying to conduct business.
Sorry, we already saw that.
In your habitat to domestic livestock, and the results are not good. But it's not just that only a couple of cows can decimate the entire acreage of your sanctuary and turn everything that was green and beautiful to dirt and mud. It's also the mind-blowing amount of waste that these animals produce. They eat and they eat and they eat and they poop and they poop and they poop. This presents challenges to these sanctuaries on multiple levels, dealing with all of the waste that's being produced and trying to maintain their habitat in some form. And this is all being caused by only a couple of the livestock, much less hundreds of them, much less thousands of them, which is the reality of ranching that is trying to turn a profit. Meanwhile, just outside the boundary line of those sanctuaries, outside of their private property line where the land is still wild, the habitat looks good, but there are still wild animals roaming around out there. There are hooved herbivores walking around out there, and yet that land isn't destroyed. Explain that one. Cattle have no place in these habitats. Cattle did not evolve with the land. Cattle have nothing to do with local ecosystems. And if the local ecosystem should try to interact with the cow, let's say a wolf or a coyote or something tries to eat a commodity animal, a livestock animal, well, we all know what happens to those animals. But yeah, we're back to nature. I feel compelled to add an asterisk to that particular
we need to put an end to that shit.
Because as you can see yourselves, nothing's particularly compelling in terms of being lush and green. Well, it was filmed in yet another horrible, horrible drought in California and during a heat wave. You can see that some of the perennial plants, such as trees and shrubs, have managed to maintain a lot of their green. But other plants, even the native ones that are perennial, eventually give way to a drought. And so nothing's looking particularly great right now. But this brings us to another aspect of this whole argument, in that much of the drought-resistant native perennial plants have been choked out and replaced by annual plants that turn into dry fire fuel every year. And those were introduced by animal agriculture. And through their invasive nature, they spread. They are spread intentionally by the people who plant them. They are spread by birds. They are spread in the hooves and the fecal matter of animals that eat them and then walk into new areas. And therefore, you are seeing more and more areas that might have managed to maintain their greenness even in a drought time.
I find it really fucking funny that Lubass hasn't said a word about anything this guy's saying. He's just focusing on something else right now. What do you think about this, Lubass? Lubass is going to lose he's losing his mind right now. He's trying to like have this stupid conversation in the chat, ignoring this dude freaking slam dunking.
And still, as you're talking to him.
Yeah, still ignoring. Well, he might be watching like 5 minutes back. I don't know, really. A lot of people get on and.
Why doesn't he join? Like, why is he being a pussy about it? Just join, dude.
He has all he's on every get up here, Lubass.
Yeah,
he goes on everybody's podcast. He's a guest
on everybody's. Even Garland Farms, he'll go there, and I'm like, Garland, I don't know if having Lubass.
Wait, hold on.
I don't know if having Lubass with you is really helping you that much, Garland.
Jeffrey, I don't know if you hire something, but you just posted the YouTube link instead of the StreamYard link.
Oh, whoops.
He's already failed at not being an animal abuser. What a blow that must be to your ego, you know? I mean, it's one thing to fail at being a rock star or an NBA player, or my failure to become a world Scrabble champion, but it's quite another thing to fail at.
I mean, you
not
did
dining on
well
the
for a while,
corpses
though,
of
right?
tortured animals.
Cat.
Hi, kitty.
Kitty.
Nice pussy, man.
With dry fire
Same.
fuel. Yet another problem with this idea of regenerative ranching using the very animals who are the reason that native perennials were replaced with non-drought resistant plants in the first place.
So what's the bottom line? What's the end result? What do these sanctuaries end up having to do? Well, it's the same thing that ranches have to do. They take
Guys, look out! It's Jabba the Hutt.
You guys are so caught up in your cognitive dissonance. It's not even funny.
Damn.
The sad part is
You're in a death cult.
It would be nice to have a genuine, honest discussion, but I fear it's too disingenuous. Like this guy is making no sense.
All right, go, bro. Go for it, dude.
Obese.
Dude.
Bro.
Shoot your shot.
Bro, I'm not obese.
Shoot your shot, dude. I feel like I can.
Right
Dude,
there.
I feel like I can argue against veganism better than like non-vegans can.
Oh, for sure.
So.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm not obese, bro.
That's why it's so pathetic.
I'm 61.
Yeah, you're a specimen of human nature, dude. You're a specimen with that giant gut and those
I
man
really
titties.
have to do this. I really have to do this. Come on.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
What's your argument?
Please sit back
What's your
down,
argument?
Lubath. Sit back
61
down,
years
please.
old, bro.
No, turn the light off, Lubath.
61, bro. I'm not a big guy, bro. I'm 61 years old.
60's the new 40, bro. It's not that big of a deal.
I'm sorry?
Nothing.
You can slim up pretty good if you're a vegan, and you look great for a 61-year-old.
Bro, I just went.
And you'd live to be 100.
Listen, just finally, I had to do it because I just couldn't handle it anymore. My life technically has been plant-based, 80% plant-based, my whole life, right? And I finally made the fucking leap and went full-on carnivore 3 months ago, and I've already lost 23 pounds.
Yeah,
in
because
3
you're
months.
starving yourself.
And
You've
all
gotten
I
rid of an
eat-
essential
The decline has
nutrient.
begun.
Yeah, I mean, you're
Bro,
yeah, you're. I mean,
I've
you're gonna
never
lose.
slept better. I've never
You
felt
lost
better.
nothing but muscle glycogen. There's
I've
studies I can
never
show you. You
fucked
didn't
better.
lose any fat. You're still fat.
I
You
don't
just lost
care what-
muscle
I don't-
glycogen, which
listen.
means you can't run more than fucking 6 yards.
I told you, man. Fastest way to
this
lose
is
weight
what
is
I
bowel
know.
cancer.
You
Bowel
can't have
cancer
a
will
real
lose you that
discussion.
weight
You
quickly.
can't exercise on a no
They'll-
carb diet.
they'll
You
take
can't
it right off.
exercise.
But yeah, I mean, here's another thing, right? Like, so like,
You can't have a
carnivore
real
diet-
discussion with you guys. You just can't.
so the carnivore diet is another is just like another version of keto, right?
No,
It is.
no, it's
No,
not.
And-
Atkins. It's the Atkins diet. It's been around
No, it's
forever.
not.
The
South
owner-
Beach
Nothing
diet.
like
the
that.
Atkins diet died riddled with fucking heart disease at like 65.
Oh Lord.
So if
It
you
was
want
all
to be
these-
great,
all these
if you
meat
want to
stars
be,
called, no, he slipped and fell on the ground. Yeah, he slipped and fell on the ground, was so unhealthy because of his heart disease that he died. Like,
History of
that's
heart
not
disease.
good. That's probably
Well,
not
I'm
a
saying,
diet
like-
you should be doing.
Jeffrey never grew
Like-
up. He's still in high school. He talks like
Damn.
he's still in high
Saying
school.
that because I'm wearing
He's
a hat
youthful.
right now, you dick.
Oh, come on, man.
well, I mean,
Listen,
he
if
he
you
was in
guys wanna
Hollywood
be
He's
Undead,
serious-
which
living,
I
he's living
didn't
like he's
like
still
very
in high
much.
school, man.
if you guys want to
Um,
be serious, we'll have a serious discussion. All I
Yeah.
can tell you
Oh,
is
yeah.
But
I would not lie. I can't see the chat right now.
okay,
I'm not lying to you when I tell
Brain
you,
fog.
right?
Okay.
I'm telling you the truth, okay? I'm not lying to you. I have no reason to lie to you. I don't know you guys from anybody. You're just guys on the internet.
We don't know
What's
you have no
the-
reason to lie to us.
I have no reason to lie. I
Okay.
made the final leap to go full carnivore 3 months ago. Now,
You're
I've
still upset.
minimized in the last several years, I minimized my eating bread and any kind of carbs as much
80% plant-based.
As much as possible. I tried to do that, right? And
Okay.
it's helped
Let's
me
see the
a
blood
lot.
work, Lubass.
Okay.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, let's see
Okay.
the blood work, man.
Okay. Well,
You just
show me
saying
the
you feel good
Carfax,
doesn't
man.
tell me on anything, dude. Let's see the blood work.
Wait, real quick. Okay,
Hold
so
on, I think
I'll just
I
say,
think
like,
I have my
I
blood
just
work
did
sitting
blood
over
work,
here.
Jeffrey.
So I'll just
let's see it.
Oh, I don't even know where the fuck it is, and I don't
Yeah,
think
of course,
shows.
convenient.
I'll say
I don't care. I have no reason to lie to you, brother. The only thing I was deficient in was vitamin D, and that's because we're in the middle of winter, and I don't get much sun. All right, you get your vitamin D
No,
from
you
the
never
sun.
leave your house.
No,
I'll
You only
say,
go
okay.
outside and walk around or anything. You only go outside to kill animals.
I'm outside every day, bro. Every day, bro. Every day.
Yeah, you go out and fucking make scary faces at your animals and threaten to kill them.
Yeah,
I love my
Blast them with a
animals.
shotgun.
Terrorize your animals.
I love my animals. I
Yeah,
kill
you
my
kill them.
animals.
I
When
love
walk
my
out
kids
the
and I
door-
kill them.
When I
It's
walk
like, what
out
the
the
fuck?
door, when I walk
what
out
we
the
do.
door and I yell for my cows,
Send them off into be
no
I
standers.
love
matter
my
where
friends and I
they
kill
are,
them.
they come running.
Which
No
direction?
matter
Yeah,
where they are, they
Yeah,
come
That's
and
what
then you
happens
kill
to
them.
when a pimp calls for his bitches too.
Bro,
They
I
come
took
running.
bro,
He's like, oh,
All right.
they
So
come
you
I
running
guys
took
pretty
my
quick.
I took my I took my 12-year-old
I don't know if I-
nephew to Chuck E.
I'd
Cheese
call
and then I
that kind of
killed
love.
him.
Did you guys call me up for a true discussion, or did you just call me up to heckle me?
We
Shut
can
up,
yeah, we can
Lubass.
discuss. Wait, but
if you're real-
Lubas,
Give me a hard
Lubas.
time.
Can I say something? Okay,
I feel like
let
those
me
are
say
good
so,
arguments.
I think if you want to do like this like high protein, like low carb stuff or like high fat stuff, I think you can. Like I think it's dumb, but I like you have the freedom to do it, right? But I think you can do it as like on a vegan diet. Like you can be keto
Yeah.
on a vegan diet,
Yeah,
right?
that's the sad part.
Veganism almost killed one of my daughters. Okay.
No, it didn't.
Oh yes,
No, it
did.
didn't.
Lifestyle
No, it didn't.
philosophy almost
Never
killed your daughter.
I'll tell you whether you believe
Did
it or not. I don't
anorexia
care.
almost kill one of your daughters?
I
Is that
don't.
what happened?
You guys don't
Yeah.
have to believe me. You can stay in your cognitive dissonance.
That's
It doesn't
what
matter.
happened?
No,
Anorexia?
that's
My
what you're doing
daughter,
by framing it in those words.
Well,
You're
yeah.
masking the truth.
My
Your daughter may have had an eating
my
disorder
daughter
for a
is
while
getting
and masked
so
it with
sick.
being vegan.
I'm not going to deny that a lot of anorexics use veganism as an excuse. I'm not going to deny that. That's a
Yeah.
No.
well-established
She's not
psychological fact.
anorexic.
Yeah, there
She's
was
not
that
anorexic.
Russian lady
enough.
that died like
She's
a couple months ago, and they
she
blamed it
wasn't
on
eating enough.
veganism.
All right. So,
She wasn't eating
okay,
enough.
Let's let Lubas talk.
Almost no vegans eat enough.
All I can tell you is
what's the health
truth.
issue? Yeah.
Sure.
And my daughter because she's always been soft of heart, and she doesn't, she loves animals.
What
We
did
all
they
do.
call what she had, Lubass?
Oh
What did
my
they call
God.
it?
What was the
What
condition?
disease was it?
She didn't have a disease. She was becoming so deficient. Her mind was getting so confused.
She wasn't eating enough.
Her face
It has nothing to do with the diet. That's a human action.
Oh God!
Diets are not
Jeffrey, you are-
deficient. Humans are deficient.
Wait,
Jeff-
If the human doesn't
Jeffrey,
eat enough of
Jeffrey,
something, they are
Jeffrey,
deficient. It has nothing to
just-
do with the diet.
Jeffrey, like
Oh
you're
my
right,
God.
Let's
but like let him
for a
talk.
bit, and then
Let him talk for a minute. Yeah.
Lubass.
then we can be very serious. Put a serious
Look,
Yeah.
you can look at her now. She has her
Based.
YouTube channel. You can go look at it, and you could see how healthy she is today. She eats a lot of meat today. Okay? And if you would have saw her when she was vegan, she was completely covered in acne. She had these little bumps all over her body. She couldn't figure
How
out
old
what
was
was
she?
going on. Okay, you want to heckle me? Then I'm not going to speak then.
So she had acne when she was
Jeffrey,
17?
That's a fair
No, it was
question.
more than acne.
Wait,
She was-
Jeffrey.
She was
Women have acne
suicide-
from like 14 to
became
30.
She became so depressed. She didn't know why she was depressed.
You're misdiagnosing
and
her.
she was getting
Jeff-
suicidally depressed.
All right.
Did she have
And
pellagra?
if we didn't get to the point where we had to tell her, you have to eat some meat. And literally the minute she started eating meat, her entire feelings changed. That's when she realized, holy fuck, it is the veganism. And she was doing it right.
The magical meat.
She was eating fruits and vegetables. She'd come home with boxes of fucking fruit. And she was doing smoothies all day long and making big, beautiful fucking stir fries. And I would eat some, and everybody. But she was doing it right.
Like how I eat it all.
Was dying.
Yeah, I don't eat that way.
Her
either.
anxiety and her fucking
I eat
depression
pizzas,
was
burritos,
about
burgers,
to kill her.
and
she was going to die if she didn't start eating meat.
And it was
veganism's
veganism's fault, not your fault
like
being
that
her
out
father.
Sorry?
It was veganism's fault, right? Now,
Yes, it
now I
was.
got you figured out, Lubass.
Because we're not vegans.
Now
Jeffrey.
I got you figured out.
Because
It's
we are
veganism's
carnivores.
fault that your
through.
daughter was depressed. It had nothing to do with you. Had nothing to do with you. Just veganism.
Wait,
She's
so
she's the daughter. She's the daughter I'm closest to.
So
I know
Lubass,
her.
what does she eat now?
Remember,
Is she
your
like
daughter was full of
is she
shit.
like
Your
she's
daughter
like
told me you
omnivore?
were
Is
full of
she's carnivore?
shit, that you buy your vegetables from the store when you said that you didn't buy vegetables from the store. Your
What's
daughter
that?
told me that.
I never said such a thing.
Yeah, you did. You said it all the time up until she called you out in public.
High school,
and told
Jeffrey.
me.
You're so high school, brother.
No, just you're full of shit, Lubass. I can't help but
Okay.
call someone out who's
All
full
right.
of shit.
I've never ever said, and if you could find the receipts, I'll fucking give you whatever you want. I've never ever said that I grow all of my food.
Okay, Paul.
Never ever said that.
Go watch
if you could find
10,000
the
hours
receipts-
of my content and find where I said that.
Well,
okay,
I'm just
Paul.
telling you,
Bullshit
I've never
excuse.
ever said that. Never.
Lubass, you said you never go to the store. You make all your vegetables. You make
Not
all your
true.
animals.
Not true.
Yeah, you did.
Not true. This is a lie, Jeffrey. I'm sorry to tell you. I said
That's your thing, Lubass. That's your
I
thing.
grow.
Of course you
all
said
of
that.
my. I said I grow all of my meat. I never said I grow all of my vegetables.
Grow meat?
Yes, I grow.
How does that work?
These are the same people that get
Lab-grown
offended that we
meat.
call plant milk milk. You can't call oat milk
Yeah.
milk, but then they say things like every Thanksgiving turkeys are harvested. We harvest turkeys.
Yeah, true.
How come they make sausages look like cucumbers?
Oh, okay. This is why I didn't want to come up.
I mean, to give Lou
have a
Bass some like to give Lou Bass some points. I'm not gonna like justify what he's doing, but like to give him some points, I think that growing, I think like having your own animals is probably like more ethical.
Of course,
for the
it
most
is.
part, than
You think
than,
I want to support
like buying
factory
meat
farming?
from factory farms. Yeah, yeah.
Factory
Yeah,
farming
but you
is
can't
exactly
do
what
that
Bill
on a
Gates
large
does.
scale.
That's what
You
Bill
can't, that's
Gates
true.
does.
Still
Factory
severely.
farming, right? I
It's
don't
still.
support that.
It's still a inefficient transfer of calories. You're still
Definitely.
putting way
No,
more
sir,
calories into
Bob.
something that you're getting very less calories back from.
You're on the
Definitely.
backwards end of the scale.
And you're gonna end up
opposite.
spending so much money that it's not gonna make sense because you could have bought so much more food than you could have bought 6 months worth of food, and you only have like 2 months worth of food because you
Jeffrey,
put
what are
you
took
talking
all those
about,
calories
Jeffrey?
and you made
Jeffrey,
something less
I grow-
calorically dense
listen,
with it.
Jeffrey, I grow one cow, maybe one pig, and maybe 50 chickens a year, right? Now, 50 chickens, I'll split that with my family, right? And one cow will last me a whole year.
How many bears?
A cow
Bro,
might cost
but
me
what do the
$1,500.
but what about all the
Right?
plants that the fucking cow eats? And like what about all the water that it
My
drinks? And what
cats-
about all the
my cats
land it needs?
only eat grass.
Oh yeah, you don't have to put anything into your cows.
I only feed them
Nothing.
grass.
So full of shit.
Okay, but that
dude.
counts as land, right?
Show us
You
the
wanna-
pictures of when you killed those bears.
Sorry?
The pictures of you when you're a kid with the bear all hung up.
Yeah, I hunt too.
Bear, is that why you're so crazy?
Because
you got
I
the
hunt.
parasites from the bear in your brain.
Yeah, right.
Well,
right.
I'm actually kind of like sort of agnostic about hunting. Actually.
Hold on, I can barely hear you guys. I got to put these headphones on. Hold on.
Me too.
Hunting's fine, but it's not. You can't. Everyone can't do it. If you allow everyone to go hunt, all the animals are gone within a month.
That's not true either. That's not true.
But going back to our other
totally true.
conversation,
Hey, there's a reason they have like restrictions on how many like hunting licenses they
wouldn't it be ethical if I stepped in and killed a hunter if he's gonna harm an animal?
Hold on.
No, probably not.
Hold on.
Well, because I think that hunting is like sort of like I'm not sure whether or not it increases like utility.
You guys hear me?
So it's like if you kill a hunter, it's like
Hello?
definitely like you're causing suffering. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
That was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just let you guys know though. However, if you start hearing crackling, just tell me. I know how to fix it. For some reason, every once in a while, my phone will start crackling. I need a new phone. But anyways,
smoking crack.
Yeah, my phone smokes crack every once in a while.
How many headphones have you bought over the years?
Oh, I don't
you're
even
gonna buy
know.
new
man.
headphones and they aren't going to crackle.
I
They've
don't
been
even
crackling
know.
As long as I've known you.
All the money you're saving on food. Come on, man.
I have some issue with fucking tech for some reason. I can't seem to get it right.
Sure, there's not like a 5G tower on your roof or something.
Sounds like you need
No,
more
there-
vegetables.
there
dude.
is one- there
you
is
need more
one right
carbs.
now.
You need vegetables, Lubass. You need some carbs, bro.
Yeah, that's what I need, bro. I've never
Carbs are
felt
life.
better.
Carbs are human energy. Every cell in your body runs off carbs, Lubass. You don't want to
Listen.
deprive yourself.
Okay.
This glycogen stores sizzling off.
I'm gonna give you guys a couple of arguments. Let's see if you can be adults.
Okay, go
about
for it.
All right.
I'll just mute myself.
Please, because you're like a fucking 13-year-old kid that just got into high school and he's running around trying to talk to the big boys and they're all just fucking smacking you in the head, telling you to shut up, kid.
Jeffrey does have a habit of interrupting. It's true.
Aren't I
Jay.
older than you, Lubass?
He's insane.
Okay. All right. Go for it.
Okay. Prior to the encounter with Europeans who brought wheat and corn and all these types of carbohydrates, the Aborigines knew nothing of these things. Nothing. They had no carbohydrates of any sort in their diet other than a few assortment of tubers in very small amounts. Oh my God.
Maize has been around since at least like 3,500 and possibly before.
There was no maize in Australia. There was no maize in Australia. There was no maize in Europe.
What the fuck do you know about Australia?
Okay, so that's the way you want to play it.
Wait, just
All
wait,
right.
guys.
Okay,
Just like
well,
let him talk for like a minute. Just like let him talk for like a minute or two.
All I could tell you is that there was none of these types of things in the Aboriginal culture. The Aboriginal culture ate primarily what they could kill. That's what they ate. And they had zero types of diseases. They were so amazed by how healthy these people were that they studied them for years. Now the Aboriginals are on the same diets as everybody else. They're full of diabetes, they're full of heart disease, they're all fat. None of that existed prior to Europeans coming there. Same with the Inuits. Same with the Native Americans, right? The Native Americans had meat, they had corn, right? But the type of corn they had was so different from what it is today. Like it was a tiny little plant that had barely any nutrition in it. But they kept it as a way of filling their belly when they didn't have meat.
They actually
Right?
the Aztecs developed. I've been looking into this like the last couple days.
They had potatoes, maize, and
Wait. So the Aztecs actually they developed this specific method for cooking maize using lime, lye, or wood ash. And that
right.
actually made the nutrition far more bioavailable.
Next-
There's different. What's that?
Yeah, it's like Nextamal or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
Because it wasn't
Nextamal,
bioavailable
yeah.
naturally.
because they couldn't absorb anything from it naturally. So they found
because it has
ways.
a hard cell wall. Yeah, they broke it down.
Listen, all plants want to survive, just like animals. But plants can't run from us, so they use other ways of surviving. They
Oh
use
boy, here we go, dude. We've
chemicals.
heard all this bullshit before.
I know,
Lubab.
I know you've heard it. You just don't want
We've
to
heard it
absorb
a
it because
billion times, and we don't need to hear it again.
You're stuck in
Oh,
cognitive
there's-
All you
dissonance.
guys ever talk about?
Right.
You're stuck in cognitive dissonance. You
Bad,
don't want to
eating
hear it.
meat all day is good. Right.
All you want to do is watch guys like this idiot on the television that you were watching on the fucking channel, the video you were watching, who was making zero sense of anything. All right, animal
What are your
grazing.
arguments?
I could tell you. I forget his name now. You could look him up. He's done extensive studies on
Waste. They
this.
take the compost and they spread it over the land that has already been
This guy?
Look at all that
No.
next guy.
No, I don't know. I can't remember his name. When I see if I can find it, he's I think he's I think he's a strip. No, he's not. I think he's American or no, I don't know. Maybe English. I don't know. But he's done extensive studies on how to regenerate land using animals. There's a very particular way of doing it. It has to be high intensity. Okay, he doesn't want to hear it.
Again, we've heard this all before. What's your point?
No, you haven't.
You're watching the video.
No, you haven't.
What you're talking
You
about right
haven't
now.
heard it because you've never listened.
Yes,
You've never
because
listened
Lubab
thoroughly,
is
Jennifer.
the master of regenerative farming. Because he's got 2 cows in his yard, just like fucking JD Farms with his 3 goats, thinking he's telling everyone he's a freaking cow farmer. Been 5 generations. I got a cow. I got this farm. He doesn't have shit.
5 generations. Yeah, 1 cow.
Wait, wait,
don't
hold
know
on.
know
Wait,
jack
Garland
shit about
Farms
regenerative
doesn't have
grazing.
any. Wait, hold on. Are you saying Garland Farms doesn't have any cows?
He's not a farmer. He's not a real farmer. He's been lying the whole time.
He's got some
That's so
backyard
funny.
goats.
He's got a cow in his life, bro.
You could go back in his YouTube channel and you could see that he was originally started his YouTube channel talking about his livestock, and he had, I think, 60 or 80 cattle. And then he went back, and then
absolutely did not.
and then he
Bullshit.
got out of cattle and he got
Stop
into
fucking
goats.
lying for Garland Farms, dude.
And then
You're
he
such
got
a-
out of cattle. I don't particularly get along with Garland Farms because I think he's number one boring as fuck.
You go over
And
to
he's
his
big-
channel. Get on
He's
channel with
boring.
him.
Yeah, that's true.
I've been on
You
his
go on
channel
YouTube.
one time. One
Choke him off.
time. One time I've been on his
That's
channel.
all it took.
Literally one time.
I mean, to be fair,
was
I've
hooked.
also interacted with Garland Farms, so yeah. I mean, whatever.
Listen, I've been on his channel one time, but he relies too much, as far as I'm concerned, on the studies. Now, his studies seem a little bit more reasonable than some of the studies you guys put out, but I still don't like the idea of relying on
guys.
studies because studies can be faked, studies can be
No, you don't know what the fuck
directed,
you're talking
studies
about.
can be funded in ways that can
have
change the outcomes.
Things in them to weed out
Yeah,
bad
like by
information.
the
You know
meat industry or by the government.
if you,
and not
you don't,
and not.
I don't think the
no.
broccoli industry is funding studies
Oh
to
yeah,
promote
but
itself.
you don't think the soybean industry is? Do you know how much
The
you know how many
soybean
billion-
industry is
you know how
for
many
cattle.
billions
It's not
of-
even for
it's
us.
not. That's a lie.
Primarily
Mm.
cattle.
How is
That's
that a lie?
not true.
No,
Listen,
yeah,
that's one thing. That's one thing Garland
Uh.
Farms breaks down very precisely with
no, he
facts.
doesn't, bro. No, he
What are you
doesn't.
talking
Jeff
about?
did the stream on
Fucking-
this
he-
shit.
Bro, he fucking did like a. Bro, he did.
He wears people down.
shit.
Yeah, first of all, Jeffrey fucking called him out on his bullshit. Like Jeffrey
him.
destroyed him.
Yeah, him and Chris Hines already debunked this shit.
Jeffrey
Yeah,
destroys
second of all-
no one. Jeffrey destroys only himself.
No, Jeffrey
No,
just
man.
fucking destroyed him, bro. Second of all,
Jeffrey
Carson has
destroys
destroyed him, and
only
Carson's the
himself.
lightweight compared with Jeffrey.
he attempted to do a debate with Avi, like Avi Bitterman, and Avi was just asking for clarification. He's like, bro, like, how are you measuring soybeans? And he's like, I'm measuring soybeans. Yeah, like soybeans by soybeans. And yeah, and like obviously, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you measuring them by like weight, by like fucking calories, by like
no, by
how
what
are you
they're
measuring
used.
them?
He's measuring them by what they're used for. The majority of soybeans go to produce oil, and what's left over is then given to animals.
That's
But
not
the
even
true,
true,
the
bro.
way,
That's not
oh
even
Lord,
true.
Where
What
are
you
you, Lubass? Where are
okay.
you?
Oh my
Soybean oil? I haven't seen too much of that.
Debate, and Garland Farms admitted that that's not true. After
Oh my
9
God.
hours of debate,
Show
he
it to me.
admitted it
Show
wasn't
it to
true.
me.
So stop
Then
fucking
if
parroting
that's true, if that's
went
true,
over
you should have a
everything.
clip,
Go
Jeffrey.
watch the
You should
My
have a
man
clip.
over here dying.
Go watch the debate. It's too much information. It spent 3
If
months
that's
fucking
true, no, but if that's
to
true
tell
what
you
you
some
just
stuff.
said,
You
if
can
that's
change your
true what
mind.
you just said, then you would have clipped it, but you
It's
didn't
clipped all over
because
my
you're
YouTube.
not.
Yeah,
It's
what are you
not
talking
true.
about? Jeffrey
my
clipped it all over his YouTube. What are you talking about?
Okay, pull it up.
It's been
Pull
on
it up
vegan
and let me
games. It's
see.
been on like
Pull
every
it up
YouTuber
and
on
let me
YouTube.
see where he
Hey,
says
so
that what I just said is not true. That 80% of soybean goes to create oil.
He tried to pretend he came up with the whole, or like started the whole co-product argument.
No, the oil the oil is the fat. They take the oil out because it's too fattening for the cows. They can't fucking
Oh
eat that.
Lord, what a crazy
All,
idea!
it's fucking all
I
in history,
cannot,
bro.
There's
There's
soybeans
no
all over this
reason
place.
humans eat
I have
soy oil.
never
There are way
seen
better ways of eating oil.
soybeans.
It's not because
I
of
have
oil. We
never
already went over
seen.
this. You're just repeating your fucking
All
Joe
right.
Rogan groupthink bullshit. You're just gonna keep repeating the same shit over again, just
Okay,
like
bro.
Justin
All right.
fucking Panini and fucking
Okay.
Garland Farms and fucking Larken Rose with all their bullshit, fake ass, half ass fucking anarchy bullshit. Shut up, Lubass. Learn something. Come next time with some new information that you learned recently, at least. Just like Justin, like you guys keep
Okay,
coming up.
give me your argument. Give me your argument for why the Aborigines were healthy prior to Western involvement. Give me the argument why the Inuit were healthy prior to that. Give me
The
your argument.
Inuit were not healthy, bro.
Are you
Lubas.
kidding? Are you
Bullshit.
kidding?
That's not how we live. We don't live in Aboriginal times.
Seriously,
So why would we
say that
eat like
Western
Aboriginals that probably didn't live
intervention
past
what made
50
Inuit
anyway?
diet
Just like
Listen.
your Inuit. None of them live past
I'm
50.
gonna go. I'm gonna go because there's no discussions here. I'm
What
gonna
did
just
we
go.
do?
Wait, hold on. Wait,
What did we do?
Lubas,
We
can
fattened
I
up
can
the
I say
salmon
something
in
real
those
fast?
fields.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Okay, so the first thing to say is that like we can just like assume everything you're saying is correct. That like the
Okay.
best diet is carnivore. Like it's the healthiest diet.
It's
like,
our species specific diet.
Sure, like we can just say that, right? But
No, it
is
is.
like so the first point to say is like, is it the most ethical, right? Like that like
Okay.
is
That's
like
a
a
good.
slight like
That's a good question. Yeah.
is there like a slight like is like a slight like protein or like iron deficiency like worth like this like
Killing.
gigantic like animal holocaust?
Okay. So then my
right?
answer. You want my answer to that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. My answer would be this: in the last 200 years, since monocropping has begun, we have seen the largest destruction in nature that has ever been seen. Okay. Now you get runoffs of fertilizer from these giant agricultural monocrops that run off into the oceans and create red tides that don't only kill the fish, they kill everything that come in contact with them by the billions, all the otters, all the birds, all the ducks, everything, all the fish, anything that comes in contact with a red tide, it is proven that it's caused by monocropping and fertilizers running off into the ocean. Everything is killed. That is a Holocaust.
Cow slurry.
That's a Holocaust.
The blood.
The shit.
Cow
blood shit.
Huge
fertilizer.
Yeah. Fertilizer, right?
You think that's what it's coming
Byproduct of
from?
the animal agriculture industry, bro. They had to do
Jeffrey,
something with it.
Jeffrey, let me tell you this. I've been
You're like
all
up
over.
there with growing
I've been
farms
all
pointing
over
at
the
videos of
country.
them shooting wild boar, and you're all, look what the vegans did. And it's like, you fucking brought those pigs here for animal agriculture, and then you're going to use them against vegans. Like, that's your logic. That's you and
I didn't
JD
say
logic.
anything about pigs. I said
Sure,
fertilizer
buddy.
from monocropping
I saw you
kills
on the video watching
kills.
his pig video, watching it with him, shaking your head, going, yeah, fucking
Watching
stupid
what?
vegan. They got
I
to
don't know
kill
what you're
these
talking.
pigs for the crops. No, the pigs wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for animal ag.
Oh my lord.
Well, so like here's
here's
another part, right? So here's another part, right? So it's like
fits into what we were just talking
so
about.
whatever happens in crop deaths, right? Whatever
Right.
whether it's like killing fucking like pigs or whether it's killing insects or whether it's killing mice or whatever, right?
Right.
Like yeah, it's like it all seems like terrible, right? But like opposed to what, right? So it's like if you start eating animals, like you're gonna start like causing more crop deaths. Because
See, the problem,
right?
I believe. Sorry, I didn't let you finish. I apologize. Sorry.
Yeah. So like the issue with like eating animals is like so it's like yeah like so yeah like you eat crops and you cause some amount of crop deaths, right? Like you cause like some amount of suffering, and that like there's like this idea of like oh like vegans are hypocrites because like they're like causing suffering to animals with crop deaths, right? But it's like what's the alternative? Like what are you gonna do? Like eat animals where where there's more crops, right? It's like there's like the big like Oxford study, right, where like we could increase like land mass by like 70%, like 75%, right? It's like so it's like what are you gonna do? Like if you really think like the crop deaths are bad, right? So it's like as opposed to what, like eating animals and then causing more crop deaths. It's like I
No.
don't. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
What my understanding and what I believe it from what I know and what I've learned over the years about this issue, the most effective, best way is to go back to the way we were a couple hundred years ago, right?
Why?
That's a fallacy,
Because
though.
Yeah,
Appealing
why?
to nature is
not
a
a
complete
fallacy.
There's
Not
no
a fallacy.
reason why.
Well, I can even go back to just when I was a kid.
So is that
at war because we've always been at war.
Is that like an appeal to like nature or like
appeal to history.
or
An
like
appeal to
or is that, like,
tradition.
it's like
Well,
tradition? Yeah.
If you're going to have a discussion, we have to appeal to what we know, and this is what I know.
That's not what we're
Right?
saying.
But we
So
know
I
new
know-
information now. We
wait,
can make
wait,
more
wait.
informed decisions because we have better information
But you're
than we
ignoring
did
the
prior.
information. You're
You know, based
ignoring
on
the information that
based
exists
on what-
already. You're ignoring that information.
Happened in
right?
the past does not mean it's going to
Look,
happen
the
the same
question
way in
here
the
is
future.
very
That's a
simple
fallacy.
that Jerome's trying to ask. Are you saying we should go back to 100 years in the past, or generally that method, because it produces better well-being for all of the creatures involved?
Yes.
Or are you saying
Absolutely.
it just because
It
it's the way
creates-
it used to be? Okay.
No,
so
it's because it's
Okay.
better for everyone involved. It's better for the
Okay.
It's
animals,
because it has
and
the
it's
best
better
consequences.
for the
Video right now
and
is
it's
saying that it's
better
not.
for the people. I can
okay,
give you
so-
just an
Okay.
example from my life alone.
So
right?
he's making
As a
he's
child,
making a consequentialist claim here. So
yes,
that's
as a child,
that's progress.
we my dad, when I was about, I don't know, 3 years old or something, he purchased a farm, which is the farm I'm looking at buying right now. And
Okay.
we used to come up from the city because we lived in the city. And on the weekends, I would go with my grandfather and spend the weekend at the farm. And we would drive through these tiny little roads. Now there's major highways coming up here, and everything is like being overrun by city here now. So I'm trying to get out.
Yeah.
But the point is this: when I was a child, you're talking, 55 years, 56 years ago, basically every piece of land had a barn and had animals. And generally, it had a variety of animals. And you could drive by every single barn, and there were thousands of them. And you would see cows and pigs and chickens and goats and horses and everything. They were all kind of outside together, and
Eat it
you
up.
could stop.
Come on, man.
You could stop at any farm, and you could buy a gallon of milk, or a couple of chickens, or a half a pig, or whatever they had in the freezer, and we would do that on our way up to the farm and buy groceries from farmers, right? And these farmers handled their own meat, handled their own milk. Today, it's all been corporatized into these giant factory farms that these animals don't even get to see daylight,
Because
right?
that's more profitable.
Exactly. So they've
That's the
taken
point.
over. So the best way is to go back
It's the only
to
way
the
that
way
the
we
large human
used to do
population
it,
can eat lots
where
of
The only
healthy meals
way
a
to
day.
go back
small
would be to have less
farmers
meat on the market. Less people
were
would have less meat if we're going to go back. Because the only way to have enough
no,
for
not
everyone is
true. There
to
would
have
be
factory farming.
more.
I don't think you
There would be
understand how
more.
this
That
works,
only
Lou
works
Mass.
when people eat meat for
Local
Sunday
farm
dinner,
cows
and
still go to
then
the same
the rest of
factory
the meals
farms
have a
factory
tiny
slaughter.
piece of bacon inside a
Well,
plant-based meal.
obviously it doesn't work because the government has to subsidize that industry in order for
They
it to
never
produce enough.
subsidized it in, they never subsidized it in the past. They have to subsidize
They
it now
always
because
have. It's been
no, that's
decades.
not. Oh God, now he's gonna
No,
Corn
no,
and
no.
talk over me.
soy has been paid
Wait,
for
no, 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 no.
cattle
Oh
for
Lord.
That might be
decades.
true for like maybe like
Are we gonna,
All
we're gonna
right.
have
He's
to
in
maybe
reinvent
like
Canada. He doesn't
eggs,
know what
maybe
he's talking
eggs,
about.
but
We don't care about Canada,
Listen,
dude.
when
Canada
I
gets
was a
subsidized
child,
fucking food.
it was not illegal to sell a man milk or meat off your
Oh my God,
doorstep of your
get to
farm.
the point,
It is
Lubass.
not. The point is that the government
We need
has
farms
made it
everywhere.
illegal, and for a small farmer to survive, he has to pay such high regulation taxes and fucking come up with certain standards that he can't afford, that he has to go out of business, right? So the only ones that can survive are the big corporations, right?
Except
So
there's still
all the
plenty of
small
small
farmers,
farms around.
no, there is not.
Contradicts everything you're
Every
saying.
one of
Sure
those
there is.
barns, every one of those barns that I
Every
passed
one
as
of
a
those
child,
farms.
there's
Nothing but
maybe two or three.
generalizations. You're not even in the
There's,
same country of us.
oh
You're in
my
a
God,
different
I'm talking
country. Like,
about
what are
my
you even
experience. I'm
talking
talking
about?
about, oh Lord, man, Jeffrey. Every one of the barns that I passed as a
So
child, and there were
buy
hundreds,
the
hundreds
barn.
are
So many
gone.
barns.
Oh
What's
man.
the point, Lubass? Jack
So
Talcott over
your
The
here.
theory
point,
is
the
that
point
your theory is
is,
that contemporary factory farms. Okay.
yes,
Uh,
go ahead.
it sounds like
Maybe they'll
you're
listen to
you're
you.
proposing that the factory farms we have today
Are
are
eliminated.
that the most important explanation for why but why they came to be. You're
Yes.
proposing that the most important explanation for why they exist today is not that they are highly efficient ways of meeting incredibly
No.
high demand,
No.
but that
No.
it's just a conspiracy theory to get rid of the what seem
No.
on
No.
a seem
I'm
very
not giving you.
obviously
I'm
What are
giving
you
you
much
facts.
less efficient
I'm
way of
gonna
using
give
animal
you.
products.
I'll give you one example,
That
but this goes for all of the animals. I'll give you just one example. Okay. There is, for example, milk. Right. You cannot, in most places, even in America, sell raw milk. Right. There's a reason for that because it
Bullshit.
takes. Oh Lord, this
I could go
fucking guy.
5
Okay.
places right now on my block and get the shit. What are you talking about? Good, thank God.
We lost
I'm
him.
sick of the same bullshit. Hearing
the
that guy
idea
say the
So
same
the idea that
shit in your
the
house.
mass production of dairy doesn't exist because people want to consume so much dairy,
yeah.
and that it's the only economic way to meet that demand. I mean, like
Why does it have to
if
be
these
the
old
same
these
like
old ways
5
of farming could
animals? What's so
possibly reduce
fascinating
the
about these
quantity.
animals? Like, why don't they get giraffe milk? You know, or walrus milk? You know,
It's tradition. They don't even know why. That's the funniest part. They have
well,
no
yeah,
idea
this
why
is my
they're
favorite
spending
thing to
with
say
their
is,
life.
you know, mommy and daddy pick their diet and their traditions for them.
Yeah.
They don't have a good explanation for these things.
Ancient religion.
Yeah.
Destroyed by the same
there he
animals
is.
that produce the waste in order
Oh,
to
look
make
at
something grow
how
back for
good
them
this
to
is for
eat
everyone.
next year. That's not natural.
I don't see
That's
the
not nature.
seashore.
That is a way of overcoming a problem that only exists because of
There's too much methane gas in the way.
Animals in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm not ripping on animal sanctuaries. Power to anyone who wants to provide some form of mercy or compassion to these animals. The point is that the very existence, the very persistence and continuing to breed and create animals that exist solely for the purpose of being killed by humans to eat something that they don't need to eat, and that is incredibly unsustainable, ends with a problem. It starts as a problem and ends as another problem.
Come on. Since we're talking about animal sanctuaries and being kind to animals and saving them, I want to address one of the most ridiculous arguments I've heard against not eating meat, and that's that if you don't eat them, then they will all be killed. Just repeat that. If we don't eat them, they will be killed. Now, is this argument coming from the people who raise these animals with the sole intent of killing them to sell their flesh? And who, by the way, do this as soon as the animals are big enough to sell on the market so they can be replaced as quickly as possible with the next round of animals that are being raised just to be killed to sell their flesh? Or is this coming from the people who purchase the flesh of these murdered animals and thus support the endless cycle of continuing to raise animals that exist only to die? The only way to end the death of these cows, if you're going to pretend that you have some sort of concern for their well-being, is to end the process entirely. It's amusing in a sick and twisted way to hear people defend consuming
Phase them out.
dairy products because they don't want the cows to die, when the baby males that are pulled from their mothers are literally thrown into trash cans or sent straight to slaughter because they don't want those animals drinking their mother's milk. But yeah, thanks for your concern for the animals. Or just the eating meat argument in general, that I have to eat the flesh of this dead animal on my plate, otherwise his friends standing in line at the slaughterhouse will be killed. Because if you don't eat that meat, then all those animals in line to be slaughtered are going to be saved. So back to saving the animals. There are 94 million cows or something of that number in the United States alone right now. If we saved all of them and were to give them space on a sanctuary, that would mean we would have to buy a lot more wild open land and convert that to sanctuary. And as you have seen, that would essentially mean destroying that land. That essentially means taking that land from wild animals and getting rid of wild native habitat. So once again, that doesn't work. You have to stop this endless cycle of producing animals that have no place in a natural ecosystem in the first place. These animals exist for an industry that makes money indulging the selfish appetites of human beings.
Very nice.
Now this Alan Savory act.
There's like a lot more we could watch next
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
this guy's definitely vegan.
Yeah, and we don't even have the decency when the heart disease from all the cattle kill us to bury our bodies in the soil naturally. And
dude, see, that can't be a
plants.
coincidence. Like, we have no heart for these animals, and what do we end up getting for that? Most people die of heart disease.
Hey, that's another part of the subsidy, right, Devin? As libertarian vegans, I mean, the fact of the matter is, as much as people complain about the U.S. not having enough socialized medicine, it's more than subsidized enough to accurately say that Americans do not pay nearly the full cost of their own self-inflicted, heart disease and diabetes and whatnot, right? They say that as a drinker of alcohol, which I acknowledge is a Class A carcinogen, or Class 1, but
yeah. That guy's channel's called
that's
Watch
part of the
Humans.
subsidy.
You guys should
is subsidy for statins and blood pressure medication and shit, right? That's part of the subsidy for the meat industry. is what
like it's the cost is built
the
in.
consumers need to be the consumers need to be subsidized for
Watching Humans. He's only got like 2,000 followers,
diet.
so subscribe to his channel. Dude seems cool.
Let's get him on the show.
Yeah.
Have him talk to Lubas for a little bit. That'd be interesting.
Lubas just wouldn't listen.
I was trying to get my friend Craig on here earlier, but he was having some connection issues. But he's a he's a Christian vegan podcaster. He does his own sermon.
That guy.
Yeah,
that was him?
That was him. No, but I think he was having trouble with his connection because he usually goes to the public library to do his podcast. So I don't know what was going on there.
Get him on. That guy seems cool. I want to hear what
he's very cool. He's also a van life guy in Southern California.
Oh, sick.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
like out
so
in the desert, or like,
no, I think he just roams around. We met up with him. I think we were in San Diego.
I couldn't do it,
time
dog.
we were there.
I tried the whole like trailer life, and I made it like a week.
We've been doing it a year and a half. It's been dope.
I like
super dope. But we got a big class A. We got a big
RV. I like having a stable home with no car and walking most places I want to go.
Yeah,
walking for hours at a time. The walk to like a little produce market to get the fresh ingredients for my meal, and then the walk home, and then the cooking in my apartment. That's very.
You know what comes to mind with the van life thing is the whole like Millennium Falcon lifestyle. It's like you just have like a big home ship and you just like roam from planet to planet, city to city, and have your little adventures.
It's fun, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Just like we have kind of an older class A, and just like RVs just fall apart. Like you buy them new and they fall apart immediately. Like so. I mean, I grew up on a sailboat, so it's similar, except you're not like being threatened with being sunk all the time. But it's pretty fun. We've had a lot of fun. We've driven all over the West Coast, down into Arizona, Nevada. We met up with Devin when we were in Good Springs.
Good Springs.
All you Fallout players.
Mm-hmm.
Pioneer Saloon.
Based. I think my biggest issue
I was
like not
starting to
having.
ask
Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, what's up?
I was gonna change the subject.
So like I think my biggest issue was just like not having like reliable internet. When it comes to like living in a trailer,
board games.
Yeah, I mean, what's it called? T-Mobile has these like 5G home hotspot things. They're like $50, and it works really good.
That's what you've been using this whole time?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm able to do the podcast.
It's like a mobile hotspot.
But it's made for a house.
Yeah.
So it's really powerful, and they give priority to these things over their cell phone service. So it's like really solid.
Shit.
Like you get a lot of speed.
Damn.
And it's if you already have T-Mobile, it's $30 for one of these boxes. It's like a big box. But you just plug it in,
and it just goes off of your normal cell service.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's like beast. Like it's super beast. Like it's way more internet than we even need. It's just we have to have a
like
device.
You could game off of it.
Jerome, consumes he consumes about 10 terabytes of porn every night. So
yeah, true.
That would be sufficient.
Yeah, that's
Isn't
true.
that right?
Yeah.
Consume.
Is that how you keep your voice that way?
No.
Yeah, for sure.
That's funny. Well,
but really quick, with time running out, I wanted to ask you guys if you'd seen Christspiracy, and
Oh,
if we should.
I think we're gonna go watch it this weekend.
All right, maybe we all have to watch it, and then we'll
Yeah,
talk
I think
about
we should all go watch it tomorrow.
Sure.
So, Devin, what happened with Larken?
What happened with Larken? Oh my
I didn't
god!
look at any of that. I guess there was like the one thread
I guess I should have sent all that stuff to you earlier so you could review it. So maybe we'll have to, huh?
What were the biggest like?
It
did
was
he have anything clever?
It's the same stuff from his video. It's just the dishonesty. It's the vegans supposedly don't actually apply the non-aggression principle to all animals, which isn't the definition of veganism,
Yeah,
right?
that's a straw man.
That's a straw man. Yeah, so he's just trying to use that repeatedly and say that vegans were dishonest.
And him and Justin they talk about the lies all the time, and
The lies.
They never elaborate. They never say what these specific lies are. So
what are these lies?
Yeah, how do you?
Evan, when you say applying the non-aggression blah blah blah, the NAP to all animals, you mean animals as moral agents, right? Like applying it to the lion killing the gazelle, not like vegans.
No, not like that.
Because of crop deaths or something else.
No, I guess what he means is like we don't apply it the same between like a house cat or like a fly or mosquito.
Yeah, insects. He was saying
insects. Because we don't treat.
So that's kind of similar to crop death, right?
Yeah, he brought up the like your drive to work and how many flies you kill on a road trip or something. Yeah.
Big L for him.
Big L. So one thing I was gonna say on that argument is, even in the statist mindset, there is a difference between first degree murder and manslaughter, right? You don't get the same sentence for accidentally killing somebody unintentionally, killing somebody as you do like premeditatedly raising an animal from birth to plan its death to consume its flesh. Like there's a huge difference there,
Years long plot.
yeah.
There's also like if you try to like make the NAP too categorical, if you really try to make it deontological, I mean, this is a controversial opinion. I'm gonna get into it with a lot of deontologist libertarians. But there's the probabilistic argument when it comes to effects on humans too. Like every time you put a small amount of pollution into the air,
Yeah.
Like every time
when I turn on
affect the environment.
Yeah, when I fire up the V8 on my car, how much pollution I'm causing.
Like Matthew Adelstein says, like he says, like, what's the difference between walking down the street and producing sound waves, and then the sound waves physically interact with the houses along the street versus walking down the street and spraying bullets in a circle around you? Both of them physically interact with the houses. So, the only difference can be the obvious fact that the sound waves are not going to cause significant harm to people or property, and the bullets are. So it's got to be an appeal to consequences ultimately, right? So there's that kind of argument too. It's and the bullet is not going to 100% of the time like cause damage. So it's a probabilistic argument about how likely it is that spraying bullets versus like producing sound waves or producing a little bit of air pollution is to cause harm. So you can't even have the NAP be completely categorical, even strictly between humans, right?
Right.
Well, we don't have any control over the incidental deaths that we have that are on our hands, just simply because of existing. Everyone has that equally. That's not what vegans are talking about, guys. And if any of you are listening out there, that's not the definition. We are talking about the intentional.
We're the ones who are living in the real world.
Food.
We're the ones who have common sense.
Yes. We're talking about the intentional.
The people we're against are the extremists.
Yeah. Yeah. But
It's the intent.
They're the ones who hold the extreme opinion that horrific torture, like planned from birth, of a sentient being is justified by completely unnecessary taste preference.
It's slavery. It's what all these people.
That's the crazy answer.
And so that's why we picked on Larken, because he is
literally slavery.
Yeah, he is an anarchist, and what he advocates for is slavery.
Yeah.
So he doesn't understand the non-aggression principle.
No, and he obviously doesn't understand subsidies. You know, I thought he's supposed to be this pillar of libertarian fucking one-liners and shit. Like, and so it's okay to take food from the government. Okay, interesting. Because, like, you know, you tell these guys, they're like, do you even understand how expensive meat would be if government didn't subsidize it? Like, and they're just like, they think it's like the same as vegetables. Or, all vegetables are subsidized too, and it's the same thing. And it's like, no, it's not even on the same.
I think he could get away with it if he's,
people like
if
that,
he's arguing that he gets all of his meat from the wild, or that he's raising it himself, or something of that nature.
Yeah. And again, that isn't. We can't apply that to everyone on the planet. It doesn't work. So I don't really care about your little these guys that are all, I get my meat from you're in a very lower percentile that I'm not talking about. I'm talking about everyone else and the factory farming and all that. And it's like these guys like, okay, if that's your position, then get out of here. I don't want to talk to you. Like,
Get
there's
out
no
of
point
here.
in you being here if you're you know,
leave society.
Yeah, leave.
People like that are very frustrating as a libertarian. Whether Jeffrey thinks I am or not. Also because of this, they give support to this very common lie or slander from like people on the left or even kind of in the center, that libertarians are libertarians just because we're selfish pieces of shit, just as a rationalization for taking whatever we want and not having to give a fuck about others.
Like
right?
an Ayn Rand kind of thing.
We hear that all the time. Yeah, that's such a trope. And when people say like libertarianism means I don't have to give a shit about non-human animals, it really does feed into that mischaracterization. And maybe fortunately that negative stereotype is true of far too many libertarians when it comes to non-human animals. Maybe other things as well.
Yeah.
Like another thing like is like the libertarians who think that they basically have ownership over their children, right? Like they're the master of the household. So a parent should be able to set any rules like imaginable for their children. Children don't have important individual rights.
Luckily I've seen
that same kind of craziness that feeds into that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot more groups around peaceful parenting that come out of the libertarian and anarchist circles. So
that was who was that? What's his name? The goofy.
Well, the one of the people in our group that I brought in, Brittany Tutors, she's part of that crew, I would say. And then there's who's that? David Rodriguez, the voluntary village guy.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah,
that kind of. I don't know.
He's got like the long blonde hair. Yeah. Who else is in that crew? I know. Who is it? Stefan Molyneux.
Stefan Molyneux.
Yeah, remember him? Yeah. So he stepped back from the political talk to focus on peaceful parenting as like a solution to all this, because like if we can raise the next generation to understand,
that guy,
violence,
he's
and
very
domination.
thoughtful and he's actually like reasonable 70 to 80% of the time.
Yeah,
and then it's just those things he got infamous for.
Me and Allie did a pretty funny reaction video to a video of him begging for money. I can't stand that shit. Like, don't quit your fucking day job if you're going to be an activist. Like,
right.
so annoying. Like you're gonna start begging.
Well,
now,
there's
like,
groups for that. I know vegan activists that do that full time. They get paid.
Yeah. Or like Larken Rose pimping out his freaking lady, putting, like begging for money and like putting up videos of her like doing cartwheels in the air and
what is it? The little silk string gymnastics or whatever.
He's all, look how
we
hot
should
my
implement
girlfriend
like
is. Send us
donations to take off
I
items of clothing.
Stand that shit.
I wonder what that's called.
We should have a little menu.
A menu. Present a menu.
A menu of acts. I don't know what my rates would be.
Yeah.
You guys could probably charge more than I could. But we'd see. It'd be a little market experiment, right?
Yeah.
True.
Free market experiment.
Vegan group therapy / competitive OnlyFans.
Oh my god.
Hell yeah. Beast.
Oh my god, it's 3.5 hours.
3.5. New record.
I just had to try to end on that.
End on that one.
All right, dudes, that was fun.
Hell yeah.
I might be in Korea a week from today, or I might be.
So we're doing it at 6 now, so that should be a little bit like 10 o'clock for you or something. 10 in the morning.
It's gonna be 10 Saturday morning. Yeah, 10 in the morning on Saturday.
Yeah.
So the coffee will
give you another hour to sleep in. Oh, but you get all nocturnal, don't you?
But I might actually be in the process of travel, or I might be screwed up from travel. I don't know. They haven't got a flight yet, but my passport has been getting processed at the San Francisco consulate, so it's there. So we're gonna get notification that I can pick it up really soon, and the school needs to book a flight. So it could be just in the matter of a few days that I'm headed back over.
I like how your mic has a light on the end of it. It looks like it looks like you got if you move your head the right way, it looks like you're smoking a cigarette or something, dude.
It's cool as hell, yeah.
You need to get a little fog machine attachment.
It looks like something like Milli Vanilli would have used, like some sort of like gay.
Gay.
I wonder why I'm not getting
Cam's
views.
I'm not getting any views.
What's with the demonetization?
No, we're not monetizing this shit. You're crazy. You said, well, this has been an extra bad one. This one's definitely not getting monetized, but then they probably will. That's how it works.
Yeah, you never know.
They'll be like, no, the one you cussed a bunch in, we'll leave that one up.
Yeah. Hey, by the way,
I still didn't say the E word. I said the E word many times, but I didn't actually say the E word itself.
I don't even know what the E word is.
Say it.
What a waste.
I know what it is. I know what it is.
It rhymes with calisthenics.
E?
And it starts with an EUG.
And it's associated with a little mustache man.
Yep. And it's
Right,
based.
But it wasn't, it wasn't originated by him. You guys know about that,
100
right?
years ago, a lot of very, very good-hearted, sane, sensible people supported it, and then
in America,
it ended up getting completely tarnished by guilt by association with one very small, not small, but one of many interpretations, which was a very stupid interpretation, illogical interpretation.
The Yahtzees ruined it for the rest of us. Yeah.
And,
hey,
if you want me to immediately get the video demonetized, we can have a deep conversation about how some of the greatest evil that's being done in the human context is is a kind of a reactionary opposition to improving the gene pool in order to eliminate, in order to reduce suffering and create a more healthy, happy society in a libertarian way, a voluntary way, just by convincing people, by making the case for prospective parents to make informed scientific choices rather than rolling the dice, because that's what was done in the past. Yeah. I'd like to talk about it sometime. Maybe we can stick to all the euphemisms.
Braxton, what were you gonna say?
But
so this was something that nixtamalization, whatever that whole process with corn.
Nixtamal.
Yeah, I guess it's because it's like a South American language. It's like a traditional sort of language. It's pronounced like nixtamal, something like that. But I kind of want to like run that by John and see what he thinks, because it's a really interesting point, because the it has something to do with on like making tryptophan or at least niacin more like bioavailable and different types of protein. Like it's a really efficient source of nutrition. And otherwise, like corn, the way that we've been consuming it, like, the traditional Southern way where you just make like grits, cornbread, all that kind of stuff, you're actually missing out on a lot of nutrition. And it causes it used to cause this condition called pellagra, which it resulted in this crazy dermatitis like rash, and like it was literally killing people. It's marked by what's called the 4 Ds. There's dementia, dermatitis, diarrhea, and then death.
Yikes.
Really interesting topic. I found a couple like history videos on it that they didn't mention the discovery of that process for cooking the corn right, but they pointed out that that's where enriching, like, enriched foods, they pointed out that that's what actually ultimately solved it. But that's arguably not, that's not actually a good outcome for people's health if you're eating all these enriched foods. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I grew up with a lot of Hispanics, and they taught me about that stuff. It's pronounced nixtamal.
Okay. Dude, what's crazy is I went to this local Mexican store down here, and like I felt weird being the white guy explaining like kind of somebody else's tradition to them, to ask them questions. I was like, how is this white guy walking in here? I barely speak a lick of Spanish, and I'm sitting here like, oh, I think it's called like nixtamal, and I'm like looking for the right kind of flour. They had exactly what I was looking for.
They're like, who is this hippie?
Who is this hippie?
Exactly. I got that white savior.
Props to the gringo.
Yeah. The white.
It was
Jesus
funny.
look.
My family owns a Mexican restaurant in Hollywood, and I managed it for a while. And often I would get in those situations where Latinos would be like, they'd be like, can I have the corn? And I'm all, you mean the elote? I'm all, you mean the elote? And they're like,
don't lecture me on my own culture.
Nopal.
Can
I get some nopal?
Nopales?
Yeah.
Those are good. Cactus.
I know so many like vegetable and mushroom words in Korean that I'm correcting Koreans all the time when they're like talking about like sesame leaves, and I'm like, no, actually that's not sesame, that's the related plant. Like, and I'm like, I'm correcting them on the English name and the Korean name of the vegetables.
The actually Korean guy.
I'm a cook.
Korean actually. That'd be a good meme.
I read on Reddit.
But yeah, real quick, I just wanted to wrap up that that whole nixtamal thing, because that panole, that's when we were talking about, the whole food plant-based community demonizing sugar. That was actually a major part of the drink. Like, I didn't understand the whole thing about why they were putting corn in the drink until I found out it was actually because it's such a like powerhouse of nutrition when you eat it in that form, like powderized and mixed in. So it was a cool
really
little
sweet.
raffle.
Corn's very sweet. A lot
Yeah,
of sugar content.
I was actually drinking some earlier on the show. It's it tastes like cereal water. Like if you're eating like a bowl of like Frosted Flakes or something, and you're drinking the cereal milk.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good.
I'm gonna be experimenting for a while with that.
With corn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got the blue corn that like if you look online, there's people trying to like bring it back and like they're like it's actually from the Talamara people and it's like $20 a pound practically. I found the same bag for like $8 for a 5-pound bag.
Damn.
What? Where?
Just at this local Mexican shop down here. I couldn't even find it online, the same brand. But it's all organic and everything. Proper process.
You should start like a hustle.
Sell that shit.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, here it is.
Damn. Purple corn?
Keep it on full.
Yeah, it's the legit.
Hold on a sec.
Oh, right. That's nice.
Hold up, I gotta.
That'd be
Let me
nice.
see. I got this mirrored, so I look funny. If
Tortillas.
I don't. Yeah, so
Man.
that let's see. Which part is that? I think it's a maize morazo or morado. That's a blue corn part. I found that out when I was googling what this is. That's pretty.
I'm guessing that pan de maíz is something very different from the southern U.S. cornbread, right?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not actually like a cake-like thing. I don't know what that is. What do Mexicans call pan de maíz?
I don't know. Because the harina part is that's the flour. Like that's the flour part, but maize, yeah, it's corn. But well, depending on the kind of corn, because we have a different kind now in America that we've been using since like we screwed up everything with agriculture.
Yeah.
But yeah, that I have to show you guys that the videos about like pellagra and all that, because I'm almost wondering now if that's maybe some of the skin conditions people talk about when they say they went vegan and their skin got ruined. I'm wondering if they're just not getting enough niacin because they're eating the wrong kind. Well, I don't know. It makes a more nutritionally complete diet. So it's kind of interesting.
Scientologists. Oh, we were supposed to talk about Scientology.
Oh yeah, and Jerome brought that up.
Are all weird about niacin.
Oh really?
Yeah, they think it's like the best stuff in the world. CalMag is a Scientologist-owned supplement. CalMag, calcium and magnesium mix. They'll sleep really good on that shit. But yeah, they're really weird about. They think that niacin like detoxes you of all like psych meds and stuff you took growing up, and like. You get on these purifications. Yeah, it might be true. You do these purifications where you run on a treadmill all day and you take niacin and you flush and you sweat. Yeah, they do it at all the Scientology places. Yeah, that's cool. But and then you visualize the period in time when you were taking the psych meds, and like it's like this whole fucking weird flush mentally. You get rid of like, it's kind of funny, Scientology, But I know it's funny. Jerem just left. I just remembered that we were supposed to talk about Scientology.
Yeah,
he knows quite a bit about it. Yeah.
Next week, I'm gonna put this video back on. See you guys next week.
You know what? I can talk sometime about. You guys are libertarians, but you're not like ex-Randroids, right? I can talk about Ayn Rand's quote unquote objectivism, and all of that fucking craziness. I was kind of connected to the Ayn Rand cult when I was like a teenager and young adult, so I can talk about that bullshit.
Yeah,
sounds juicy.
Sounds juicy. She's a funny lady.
If we're gonna have a week where we talk about cultish type mentalities and suppression.
Oh, you mean you're in the actual Ayn Rand cult
and whatever? I mean, not in like not close to like the inner circle at the time, but in sort of the outer circle of like clubs and communicating online with some people in the inner circle, and like aware of like some of the like schisms, some of the like basically like excommunication of like important people that went on in the mid to late 90s.
Yeah. All right. We'll do that next week.
Yeah.
The Ayn Rand call.
Yeah. I'll let you guys know what my schedule is. I might be in the middle of travel, but other than that,
Okay.
even if I'm
good luck if you are.
I'll try to make it. Thanks.
And we'll all talk to you then.
Well,
see you next week.
Good night, everybody.
That
was fun.
Who was kind enough to fuck up Africa before deciding the rest of us need to fuck up where we live also is again talking about places where we humans wiped out the native animals and then left a gaping hole in a system. And he's saying, look what I discovered by introducing animals, conveniently the ones that I own and profit off of, some good things can happen. No shit, there's a massive gaping hole and you introduced some form of what was missing. But he also talks about grazing on grasslands as though we all have access to native grasslands. Our native grasslands were wiped out by animal agriculture. You aren't talking about native grasses. You are talking about the bullshit that is planted by ranchers annually in a desperate effort to grow something for the cattle to feed because they destroyed the native grasses. Alan Savory is basically the Donald Trump of animal agriculture, just proclaiming what he wants to be truth as fact with arrogant confidence while backpedaling on things he said whenever it's contradicted by science. Oh, this is backed by very, very solid science, the best science. Oh, it's the worst science. It's just garbage science. I read a recent pro-ranching article talking about how these massive elk were causing damage. Massive, stating that they were 500 pounds. Yeah, that's not a small animal. Guess what? Double that and you have a small heifer cow. And people respond to that by saying, well then, how come it worked when we had bison? We didn't have bison in California, you fucking idiots. And then you also have the people say, well, look, it worked in Europe. This isn't Europe. How fucking dumb do you have to be to understand that different habitats are, how shall I put it, different? You can't just take massive grazing animals from an industry in Europe and dump them on an arid sensitive habitat and expect the same results. Oh, sorry, there I go, talking about science and nature again, when you ranchers are the holistic geniuses. My bad. You guys already knew all of this, I'm sure. When people like that say that their ancestors came to California and saw a land that was ideal for dairy, what they're saying is, this place is prime for the raping. Look, people, you're desperately trying to believe this shit that doesn't make any sense because it's what you want to believe, because it's what you're already familiar with and that you like. You don't want to give it up, but it doesn't make any sense at all. You will find plenty of papers that make claims, but you personally will never own 2 plots of land on which you take a native setting and introduce cattle to it and end up with it better. You will never have a situation in which taking cattle away from that land that you then destroyed does not result in it getting better. You will never have 2 plots side by side where you use native animals instead of cattle, where the cattle would have done a better job. Never.